It has been said that those who do not learn from history are destined to repeat it. If that is true, then David Wells would be wise to forget all his knowledge from last Sunday when he was nothing short of perfect and posting all zeros at the stadium. He will need to put aside the memories of the cascading cheers that rained down upon him by the Yankee faithful, because today his team needs his full focus versus the red-hot Sox, who posted a comeback win on New York last night. David Wells meets history as the Yankees meet the Red Sox next.
York Yankees baseball, live on the WB11.
From Fenway Park in Boston, WB11 Sports proudly presents New York Yankees baseball. Today, the Yankees take on the Boston Red Sox. The starting pitchers for today's game are Mr. Perfect David Wells for the Yankees and Derek Lowe for the Red Sox. Hello, everybody. I'm Bobby Murcer along with Tommy John, and welcome to New York Yankees baseball here on the WB11. Well, it's a beautiful Saturday afternoon for this second game of a three-game series between the Yankees and the Red Sox. Well, it's a perfect afternoon, and I think that's pretty fitting for who is starting for the Yankees, David Wells. I don't know how he can top what he did in his last outing, but David Wells, if you go in the locker room, he's going through his same routine. The metallic music is going on, so David Wells, who knows what's going to happen?
Well, David Wells was pumped. He was getting himself ready. He said, all I want to do is go out and just pitch a normal David Wells type game. If that's a normal game, it's a lot of strikes. He's got a good fastball, a good curveball. His curveball, I think, is one of the better ones in the league. Right there, you see him throwing it for a strike. Struck out Pat Mears. And then here is a good one against Ron Coomer that Coomer can't hold up. And the last pitch of the game, a good high fastball that Mears was laid on. And David Wells throws a lot of strikes. If he has a generous umpire, it's going to be a pretty good day.
Well, it's been a whirlwind week for Wells, as he has really enjoyed the spotlight, and rightfully so, the perfect game. He has retired 37 consecutive batters. The Major League record is 41, held by Jim Barr back in 1972, so he will have a chance to break that this afternoon. The Red Sox, with a big come-from-behind win last night, as they win the first game of this three-game series. And you got to go to the bullpen. The Red Sox ball club is a different ball club from what they were in 1997, and one of the differences is Tom Gordon.
Well, they turned it over to Tom Gordon about the middle part of last year, and he has been outstanding out of the bullpen. He has a good fastball, but his curveball makes everything better. And you see right there, he jammed Bernie Williams with the fastball, and here he throws the fastball right on by Darryl Strawberry. And the curveball is just awesome. It's the old 12-6 downer curveball, and that's the last out of the game. And as long as he's out there, the Red Sox are tough.
And as you can see, the crowd was pumped up last night in one of the oldest and biggest rivalries, the Yankees and the Red Sox. And the flash attack, he is known as Flash Gordon. Last night, as we saw, 1 1/3 innings pitched, no hits, and he struck out 2 with that devastating curveball. We're going to have all the action. David Wells, Mr. Perfect, coming up right here on the WB11. Please stay with us. Welcome to New York Yankees baseball here on the WB11. Bobby Murcer along with Tommy John. Let's take a look at the starting lineup, brought to you by the Corona Extra beer. Corona Extra, change your whole attitude. Knobloch, Jeter, O'Neill, Williams, Strawberry, Curtis, Posada, Brocious, Swain. The name that's missing is Tino Martinez. He was in the original lineup and was scratched just moments ago. So Swain now will take over at first base for the New York Yankees. Derek Lowe will pitch to Knobloch, leading off here in the second game of a three-game series. And the first pitch is up high to Knobloch. Knobloch, a .253 hitter, 2 home runs, 10 RBIs. On a bright, sunshiny afternoon, not a cloud in the sky here in Massachusetts. And the next pitch is up high, ball 2-2-0. TJ, Derek Lowe, he is a sleeper, and he is a sinker, curveball, changeup type pitcher.
You seldom see sinker, curveball. Usually it's sinker, slider, but Lowe has a curveball and has a good curveball. He's 6 feet 6 inches tall, and he takes advantage of it. So he's 0-2. but with a good 2.33 ERA. Low hits per innings, very few walks, and quite a few strikeouts. He's a straight up and down pitcher.
A hard hit shot in the left field for a leadoff single by Knobloch. And Knobloch doing what he does best, get on base for the Yankees.
And now here's the defense brought to you by the new Dodge. O'Leary, Lewis, Bragg in the outfield, Veritek, Valentin, Benjamin, Vaughn at first base, and second baseman up in the minor leagues, Lou Merloni. Lou is a favorite here with the Bo Sox. They love him here in this city, and he's a pretty good little ball player, a little scrappy player.
And Derek Jeter looking to bunt Knobloch down to second. That pitch is on the outside corner for a called strike. Jeter, his 15-game hitting streak stopped a couple of nights ago. He took an 0 for last night. His average still up to 330, 7 home runs, 28 RBIs. Those 7 home runs are tied for the Yankee lead. This could be 2. Valentin to Merloni for 1. And he throws it over the head of Vaughn. And give Chuck Knobloch a lot of credit in breaking that double play up. I mean, he really banged into Merloni down at second base.
The slow hit ball gave Knobloch the extra steps that he needed. Watch that slide. That was a perfect takeout slide. Merloni did everything he could do. Watch this. Knobloch comes in high, clips him right about the thighs. Good hard slide, good hard baseball, and Merloni got upended, and as a result, Derek Jeter's at second base.
Also give the second baseman, who is a rookie, a lot of credit for staying in there and hanging in for a long time and trying to complete the double play. A lot of the guys would just take the one and be satisfied with it.
They would take it coming across the bag and try to give you a flip back of their body.
And O'Neill bats third in this lineup. Breaking ball swung on, strike 1 to O'Neill. 3 home runs, 29 RBIs.
A couple of the Red Sox people told me that they think Merloni is a lot like a Jerry Remy, a real gutsy little ball player. And you saw there, he took a spill but stayed in.
Swing and a foul back. Now it's going to be 0-2 to O'Neill. Well, the Red Sox are hurt a little bit because Garcia Parra, their starting shortstop, is on the disabled list, not expected to be back in this series. Tim Naring, who is their second baseman, on the DL. Jeff Fry on the DL. Buford on the DL.
They have quite a few guys on the DL, and I was talking to Joe Kerrigan. I said, what would you guys be if you had your whole complement of players? And he said, I'll tell you, Tommy, we'd be a whole lot better. This is a good series. It's going to be a good season. But if they get their complement of players back offensively, they're very good. The thing about the Red Sox this year, Bobby, is they're getting pitching. They're getting their starting pitching is keeping them in the ball game to where their bullpen and offense can save them in the 7th, 8th, and 9th inning.
Tapper back to low. Easy play for him. So now 2 gone. Jeter will hold at second base.
Paul O'Neill he's fretting not about Lowe, not about this ballpark, but he said, gee whiz, you know what I got to worry about today? John Hirschbeck, the umpire. He's concentrating that Hirschbeck has a wide strike zone, and consequently you saw right there that was a pitcher's pitch, probably a ball, but he doesn't want to let John Hirschbeck ring him up like Tim McClellan did last night.
I don't know how well you can hit when you step into the batter's box worrying about the umpire calling balls or strikes. So
well, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I think Paul has just got himself to where he said, I've got to worry about that pitcher, worry about that little white seed that he's got to throw up to the plate.
And the first pitch to Bernie Williams on the outside corner for a called strike. Bernie hit a 3-run home run last night, his 5th of the year. Now Bernie has homered in 5 of the last 10 games that he has played in. Got a chance to put the Yankees in front here with Jeter down at second. Tino Martinez not in the lineup, so Bernie takes over that cleanup spot. Another pitch on the outside corner, and Bernie gives that little shake of the head. I don't believe that was a strike, but you were saying Hirschbeck has that huge strike zone.
You know, Hirschbeck has a big strike zone. We know that. Watch the ball right there. The catcher's sitting outside. He hit him right in the middle of his mask. But the pitcher's going to make enough mistakes that you don't have to worry about the umpire. Now watch how far out Varitek, actually, Derek Lowe made a bad pitch. Varitek was sitting so far outside that had he hit Varitek, the ball would have been a foot outside. Lowe makes a mistake. Don't worry about John Hirschbeck. The pitcher will make more mistakes than John Hirschbeck will call wide strikes.
1-2 count to Williams. And the curveball swung on and missed, strike 3. So the Yankees waste a leadoff base hit by Knobloch. They don't score. Red Sox coming up. New York Yankees baseball is sponsored by the Toyota Camry, the #1 selling car in America. Toyota every day. And by Corona Extra, change your whole latitude. By General Motors. And by Nobody Beats the Wiz. By the new Dodge, it's about change. Well, Yankee fans and Red Sox fans gather here at Fenway for the second game of a 3-game series. Joe Torre looking on. Joe without his starting first baseman, Tino Martinez, scratched early on because of a sprain in his right shoulder that he injured last night in a slide to third base when he beat out a triple. And he's not on the bench now, so we suspect that Tino is in the clubhouse, maybe taking some treatment.
Well, I saw him earlier in the day right at batting practice when David Wells was getting loose. He had a hot pack on his shoulder. You see David Wells with a gray suede-like glove.
David Wells, his first pitch after throwing that perfect game at Yankee Stadium to Darren Lewis. 288 hitter, 2 home run, 13 RBI guy. Wells with 37 consecutive batters. Let's make it 38 now. The record is 41, held by Jim Barr back in 1972. As we take a look at Wells' record.
Wells 5-1, 4.45 ERA. This is his 10th start. 60 2/3 innings pitched. Look at that, 48 hits. But then when you pitch a no-hitter, that will do that. 14 walks, 51 strikeouts. David Wells is pitching exceptionally well, no pun intended.
And Darren Bragg will step in now. Bragg 2 for 4 last night with 3 RBIs. He got the big hit off of Stanton in that 7th and 8th inning. Red Sox come back against the Yankees. Good fastball inside, just missing, and he will fall behind 2-0. I think Bragg thought he was hit. Hirschbeck said no. Bragg was on his way to first base.
I thought the ball was awfully close, but if that hit him, he's trying to roll down his sleeve or roll up his sleeve and show where the ball had ticked him.
Well, Darren Bragg, if it did hit him, it just nicked the shoulder where the part of the uniform is. I couldn't tell there. I mean, only Darren Bragg would know. John Hirschbeck says no, so...
You know, I think the ball got him on that little insignia right there. It was sticking out a 1/16 of an inch.
Not according to Hirschbeck. So the 2-0 pitch is up high. Now it's 3-0. And a 3-1-3-0 pitch in there for a 3-1 count out of Bragg. Bragg from Waterbury, Connecticut. He attended a New England prep school where he was a football player, and a pretty darn good one. And that's a good fastball swung on to miss. Now it's 3-2. So a lot of history following Darren Bragg being in this area and being a Red Sox fan. Kind of hard to tell, you know, in the Connecticut area, Red Sox or Yankees. That's a pretty thin line you can walk. Popped him up. Jeter's got a bead on it. And the sun will take over. We mentioned the high sky, no clouds here, a bright sunshiny day, and Jeter could not pick it up. It obviously was in the sun, and that will break the consecutive streak for David Wells. Just a routine fly ball. And the elements of the day takes over.
Well, you see, Derek Jeter has his glove up, shielding his eyes, and then he turns away. Chad Curtis told him after the play, if you can't see it, wave me off because I had the ball all the way. Wave me off so I know that you don't have it.
And Mo Vaughn now will step in. Obviously, that's a base hit, so the consecutive streak is gone at 38. On what was a routine fly ball, but you see that happen.
Well, the odds on David Wells pitching 2 consecutive perfect games was $2 billion to 1, and Bobby and I took $5 on that.
Up high for a ball. Now it's 1-1 now to Mo Vaughn.
You know,
well, I'm talking about the consecutive batter in a row.
Start it over again.
You just hate for it to end with something like that. You'd like to see a solid base hit to take that consecutive streak away. But nevertheless,
that's baseball.
The no-hitter is gone. The consecutive streak is gone. In hand now is a win for the Yankees, and a good pitch to move on there. Now it's 1-2. Wells has won 5 in a row. He celebrated his 35th birthday last Wednesday, May the 20th, making his 10th start this year. The only thing, if you go with stats, he does not pitch well here at Fenway.
And he should, because he can throw the ball away. He has a good curveball. And this ballpark, again, like I said last night, you've got to pitch the same way here as you do in Yankee Stadium or you do in Camden Yards. I would hate to pitch in Camden Yards. I think that's a bandbox compared to this. This ballpark has a short left field, but still the 37-foot wall will keep some balls in play.
Bragg will take off. He got a big jump. Posada's throw is high, and by the time Jeter gets the tag down, it's a stolen base for Bragg. His second stolen base of 98. Red Sox ball club, not really a running ball club like the Yankees.
Red Sox have never been a running ball club, but with the high leg kick, David Wells holds the ball pretty good. I mean, he'll hold you on first base, but watch the high leg kick, and a good base runner will go on first movement. And by first movement, as soon as he picks that right leg up, you take off. If the pitcher throws over to first base, you're dead. But chances are he won't, and you can get a good jump.
Inside corner, strike 3 as Vaughn just looks at it. Hirschbeck brings him up. 2 gone here at the bottom of the first.
David Wells' curveball is better than what a lot of people think. Mo Vaughn gave up on that curveball, and it just kept biting, Posada caught it a little far back to make it look like it was a better pitch. Good pitch right there. Good, hard curveball. 38 consecutive batters retired. That's a new American League record. The Major League record is held by Mr. Murcer's ex-teammate, Jim Barr, 41.
In San Francisco. Jimmy Leyritz, the former Yankee designated hitter, takes one outside for a ball. Leyritz with 7 home runs. Mo Vaughn leads his ball club with 12. Leyritz told Jimmy Williams, he said, if you want to do anything for me, please let me play against the New York Yankees. And that pitch high and inside for a ball. Now it's 2-0. Leyritz basically the designated hitter for this ball club. Joe Torre along with Jim Williams. In his 5th year now with Boston. And he has brought a real calming effect. Excuse me, not 5 years, his 3rd year with Boston. And now Wells has fallen behind 3-0. That's the 2nd time in this inning that he has fallen behind a batter, 3-0. They have made some changes here, and it really has done wonders. One of the changes is that they traded Heathcliff Slocum to Seattle. They got a couple of pretty darn good players. They've moved Gordon to the closer spot. He leads the American League with 18 saves. picked up Pedro Martinez, the best pitcher in baseball, or one of the best. We'll take a look at our Corona Extra lineup for the Red Sox. O'Leary coming to the plate now, followed by Valentin, Benjamin, Varitek, and Merlani.
Jimmy Williams is not afraid to try things. He will do things. He'll double steal. He'll hit and run. And the Red Sox managers, when you play in this ballpark, you pretty much sit back and play base at a time baseball because the ballpark kind of dictates that. But Jimmy Williams is not afraid to try things. And he bring a little National League style of ball to this Red Sox organization. And by National League style of ball, the hit and run, steal.
Chopper foul off to the right side, so it's a 1-ball, 1-strike count to O'Leary. Always a lot of photographers and reporters that covers the series when the Yankees and the Red Sox get together. Two men on, two men out for Boston here in the bottom of the first. No score between the Yanks and Red Sox. And that's down low for a ball. Now it's 2-1.
Here's the defense brought to you by the new Dodge. Curtis Williams O'Neill across the outfield. Posada, Brocious, Jeter, Knobloch, and Dale Swain playing first base in place of that young man right there, Tino Martinez. Swain did a good job last time he took over for Tino. See if he can do it again.
Outside, ball 3, 3-1. So David Wells has fallen behind another Red Sox hitter. Left side in the stands, but just barely in the stands. Brocious had given up on it. Either that or he didn't see it either. He may have been able to catch that ball.
It was only one row deep.
Only one row deep, but I think Brocious lost the ball like Jeter did in the sun with this high sky. So the count will go to 3-2 on O'Leary with the runners on at first and second. They'll be off of this pitch. Runners take off, and the pitch is lofted into shallow left field. And moving over is Williams, waving off Curtis, so no damage done here in the bottom of the first. Wells loses his consecutive game, but the Yankees and the Red Sox still scoreless. Back at Fenway, no score. Yankees coming up here in the second. And Wells, after the first inning, as he goes into the dugout, first guy to meet him, of course, the pitching coach, Mel Stottlemyre. This is Strawberry leading it off for the Yankees. Strawberry set out a couple of days on his 3-day suspension, and that's a base hit back up the middle on that big overshift that they put on for Strawberry on the right-hand side. And Strawberry, after appealing his suspension, was in the lineup last night and also this afternoon.
You see the shift right there. 3 players on the right side of the diamond, and Darrell just hit the ball right back up the middle. A pretty good sinker. You saw him hitting the ball almost even with his body. But you've got to stay in on the sinker. If you pull off of it, boy, you'll hit ground balls to the second baseman, or actually to the shortstop, playing where the second baseman would be playing all the time.
And like in the first inning, the Yankees with their leadoff man on, and Strawberry, here he goes. So finally the Yankees pick up a stolen base. Strawberry number 5. And number 53 on the year for the Yankees. Varitek last night cut down a couple of Yanks.
You saw Strawberry having his feet moving right there. Went the same way Bragg did. First movement. Took a young pitcher, a young catcher, didn't check him, an old man at first base, and he took off.
And the ball will get away from Varitek. Strawberry will move up to third. So Posada will get a chance to hit at a 2-0 count. Nobody on, nobody out, and a man on at third.
That was a sinker, and Varitek did just a horrible job. Watch him try to backhand the ball. Instead of turning his glove over with the palm facing the pitcher, he tried to backhand it, and that was just a horrible way to catch the ball. Last night, he had a tough time catching Wakefield's knuckler. Missed about 5 or 6 of them like that.
Along with Merlani at second base, Varitek, Jason Varitek, a rookie in this lineup. Up high for a ball. Now it's 3-0 to Posada. Good numbers. That's not Chad Curtis. That's Posada. But Posada has good numbers. And Joe Torre gave him the green light on 3-0.
And all Jorge Posada has to do is just put the ball in play. Any place. Third base. The only place you don't want to hit is back to the pitcher. The Red Sox infield is giving them the out for the run.
Up high, ball 4, so the Yankees have their first 2 men on here in the second inning. That'll bring up Chad Curtis.
Batting 7, number 28.
Curtis gets to start in left field this afternoon. Tim Raines, I think, is a little bit sore. And Joe Torre really protects those legs of Tim Raines.
Well, Tim Raines running down the first base last night. Benjamin threw the ball about 6-8 feet up the line towards home plate, and Mo Vaughn had to make a pretty good play to tag Tim Raines. But you could see right then Tim's legs were sore. They might have been a little tight. Day game after a night game, you give him some rest.
And Curtis lashes one into left field. Over quickly is O'Leary. Strawberry will come on to score. The Yankees will take a 1-0 lead. .25 RBIs now for Curtis.
First pitch he saw was a hanging curveball right there. You saw the ball about belt high or a little above, and that's not where you want to throw a curveball. Chad Curtis jumped all over it. And you should. Hanging curveballs, that's turnpike distance right there when you get to. You see Joe Kerrigan talking to his young pitcher, Derek Lowe. I'm sure he's telling him, hey, settle down, pitch like you can. They really like Derek Lowe. They thought that was a great pickup. A trade of Slocum for Varitek would have been a very good pickup, and they must have caught Woody Woodward on one of his days when maybe he wasn't thinking too clearly, but they threw in a 6'6" pitcher with good stuff for Heathcliff Slocum.
And Scott Brocious steps in. 2 men on, nobody out, and he bunts it towards the third base side, and they are going to mess it up. Valentin thought Lowe was going to get it. Lowe thought Valentin was going to get it, and it turns out to be bases loaded and a base hit for Brocious.
The same thing happened there to what happened to Jeter and Curtis. Saw Lowe start after the ball and then pulled up. The third baseman reads the pitcher. If the pitcher can get it, he goes right over. Now you see him back up because Valentin thought Lowe had the ball. If Lowe just pulls up from the start, the third baseman comes in, picks the ball up, and it's a sacrifice at first.
And here's Dale Swain, who picked up his first base hit in his last start at first base when Tino was hurt. And it turned out to be a pretty big base hit because he came around to score the winning run for the Yankees in that defeat against Baltimore. So Swain now batting with the bases loaded. He'd like to break into that RBI department. That'll be foul off to the left side.
The best thing you can tell young pitchers on a play that happened on that bunt play, if you don't think you can get it, you stay on the mound and let the fielders have it.
Spoken from a guy that has done that a few times.
Hey, do you want me to handle the ball or do you want Greg Nettles to handle the ball? That's the way I looked at it. Now, if you're Ron Guidry, who's very fast, yeah, you run over, you get the ball, and you can make the play. Up high, so it's 2-1. Plus the other thing, he's 6'6", and when you get that high, to get over, bend down, sometimes it's a little tougher when you're Randy Johnson. I've been on Randy Johnson all the time.
Back up the middle off the glove of Lowe. His play will be at home to force the runner. Swain hit it hard, and Lowe got some leather on it and quickly pounced off the mound to pick it up to throw out the runner coming home.
I think Lowe got knee on that ball. I don't know if that ball got leather or not. He doesn't end up in the best way. He kind of falls off to first base, but he got the glove down. It either hit glove, knee, leg, whatever, but he pounced on the ball and made a good play. Varitek playing a first baseman now. He's not a catcher. He's a first baseman. Put the toe on the plate, stretch out, get the ball, get the force at home.
The second baseman, Chuck
So
Knobloch.
the Yankees now have batted at least one time against Derek Lowe. Knobloch coming up for the second time. He is 1 for 1 with a base hit back in the first. Yankees lead it 1-0, but threatening here in the second inning with 1 out, bases loaded. That almost hit him inside.
That got his insignia also. You have the bases loaded, and the ball's back to the pitcher. Watch Posada. He kind of holds up, and then he comes on. When that ball's hit, you've got to take off. Now, you aren't going to score, but you might. It might be a shade closer where you can slide and upend him, maybe cause him to drop the ball or whatever. But when the ball, you have the bases loaded and the ball's hit on the ground, Bob, you got to take off.
2 balls, no strikes to Knobloch. Up high, ball 3, 3-0.
You know, there was a time when pitchers did have to work on their base running. And that's one of the things we used to do when I was with the White Sox. Every spring training, Bobby, we had to go out with our coaches and work on base running, work on getting leads, work on the walking step or walking lead at third base.
Knobloch is taking all away, and it's in for a called strike. John Wasden is warming up now for the Red Sox in their bullpen. Another young right-hander.
Good stuff. I saw him pitch at Florida State. Good arm.
And a 3-1 pitch, and Knobloch thought it was too high. Hirschbeck said no, it's in there for a called strike. So it's 3-2.
I thought it was too high also, and the reason why, David Wells threw a couple pitches like that the last inning, and Hirschbeck called it for high. It wasn't high, but in this day and age, if it's a couple inches above the belt, you just chalk it up. It's a ball.
Well hit out into right field. Going back is Bragg. Coming on is Lewis. Grand slam home run in right center field. Chuck Knobloch on a 3-2 count. His third of the year. And the Yankees will take a 5-0 lead.
Bobby, when Chuck Knobloch hit the ball, just watching it off the bat on our monitors and then following the fly to the ball, I just thought it was a fly ball to right field. And that ball kept carrying, but you see the wind. The wind just carried that ball right on out into the Red Sox bullpen. And Darren Bragg had a bead on it, and then he kept drifting and drifting. You see the flag there blowing. That's blowing from left field out to right field.
I'll tell you what, the flags that they really look at here at Fenway is the one up above the press box, the one that is the highest. Let's take another look at it. He gets it in the air into right center field, and Bragg and Lewis just run out of room. That's one of the deepest parts of this ballpark, too, is where Chuck Knobloch took his grand slam, put the Yankees in front 5-0. Sure, that'll bring a smile to anybody's face. And a tough day for Derek Lowe. As we got a pitching change. John Wasden now will come in the second inning with only 1 out.
Chuck Knobloch didn't want that walk on the pitch before. He wanted to take one more swing, and that, I can't tell you how many times I've seen him hit that ball to right center field like that with authority. That's his power alley. He hits that ball with authority to right center.
Well, I mean, he wasn't happy with Hirschbeck's 3-1 call, but I think he's happy now that Hirschbeck called it a strike.
Well, he gave him a chance to swing the bat. And, you know, yeah, he would have taken the walk and the RBI, but, you know, that might be the Bernie Williams home run that Bernie got to get him going, because Chuck Knobloch has got good power to right center and to left center.
Well, his average is beginning to inch up a bit. And certainly those home runs and RBIs are something the Yankees and Knobloch likes to see. This is John Wasden making his 15th appearance for the Red Sox early on.
A lot of hits per innings pitched, very few walks, 13 strikeouts. You know, you're a strikeout pitcher in college because he had a good breaking ball. When you get to the big leagues, that breaking ball doesn't fool that many hitters, and the pitcher has to throw his fastball, and you got to pitch out in front.
I want to remind everybody you can catch all the action when the Red Sox come to the stadium for 4 games starting on Thursday, May the 28th, and Friday, May the 29th. Both of those games will start at 7:30. Then Saturday, May the 30th at 1 o'clock, and then Sunday, May the 31st at 1:30. On Sunday the 31st, all fans will receive a Yankee cap, compliments of Dime Savings Bank. Tickets are available now at the stadium through Ticketmaster and the Yankee Clubhouse stores. That should be a big weekend when the Mo Sox invade Yankee Stadium.
Well, that loss last night just added maybe 6,000 to 8,000 more people coming out to the game. 4 games, there should be 200,000 people there.
And Derek Jeter greets Wasden first pitch with a base hit into left field. That's the thing about this Yankee ball club, that all of the teams in the American League are very much aware of, is that they are a ball club that never gives up. They're a ball club that puts the ball in play. They don't strike out that much. And there's nobody that you can actually pitch around in this lineup.
Well, you can pitch around, but you got about 7 guys that you got to get to get to the guy that you got to pitch around.
Nobody that you want to pitch around.
That's exactly right. You know, you say, well, I've got Knobloch. He's not hitting too good. Oh, my heavens, Derek Jeter's got 7 home runs. Whoo, I got by him. Oh, Paul O'Neill's up. And it's a lineup, and when they get their full complement, and you look on the bench, and then you pull a Tim Raines or a Strawberry off the bench to pinch hit. My heavens, it's just a juggernaut.
Paul O'Neill, the batter. And, of course, Wasden will have to hold Jeter close at first base. Jeter with 11 stolen bases. And the Yankees have come out early and making a statement to the Red Sox here in the second game of the 3-game series. Right side. Merlani's only play is to get the one at second. Benjamin trying to complete the double play. So O'Neill will be on at first. 2 outs here in the second now.
You see Merlani doing the reverse pivot there, getting himself threw the ball pretty hard to Benjamin. Benjamin, a good relay back to first base, but just a little bit too far to travel. The ball had to be in the air, and Paul O'Neill hustling all the way beat it out. Keeps the inning open, gives Bernie Williams a shot at John Wasden.
And the Yankees have batted around now that Bernie steps in. The Yankees now this year have batted around 10 times in a game. O'Neill was not the greatest of speed, but he has 4 stolen bases and has yet to be caught And each and every time that Watson throws over there, that's Jose Cardinal. He will go over there and have a little conversation with O'Neill and say, you're getting back easy, then take another half a step out there. Get another half a step lead.
I think John Wasden and the Red Sox are worried about the wrong base runner. I don't think, just kind of give Paul O'Neill a little look and worry about Bernie Williams. I would never worry about Paul O'Neill stealing the base. If he steals the base, it just fills the hole up at first base for Bernie to hit him.
1 ball, 1 strike to Williams. Bernie wears those glasses both in the field and at the plate. Cuts down the glare.
Did you ever hit with the sunglasses on?
No, I never did. They just didn't do that a few years ago. Swung on and fouled back over the Yankee dugout. You know, I tried to do that. You know, Boggs has been doing it for quite some time, and I put in an old timers game. I thought I would try it. Okay, I couldn't see a lick. I was scared to death to walk to the plate. I mean, you really got to take some time to get used to wearing those glasses at the plate. But you see a lot of guys that do them now.
Well, the old days, you know, guys used to have the flip-down sunglasses in the outfield. Now they just wear them like Bernie has right there. They just wear them out into the field and back.
Just the designer sunglasses that you put on and you wear 24 hours a day.
You know, I can see on a real cloudy day where you put the shooter's glasses on, either the amber-colored or the yellow to lighten them up. There's the old glasses, see the elastic going around the hat.
Wasden tried inside on Williams. Now the count is 2-2.
The Red Sox really like Varitek. They like him because obviously he's a good young hitter. He's a switch hitter, but he's a leader in the clubhouse. A young kid that's a leader. He's a take charge. He's an upbeat guy. He's got some fire. He's got some get up and go, and they like that, especially out of a catcher.
Popped him up left side. We'll see if O'Leary has problems. He doesn't. Glass is down, and the Yankees are finally gone here in the second. They batted around, but Chuck Knobloch, with his first grand slam of '98, helps the Yankees take a 5-0 lead. Back at Fenway, and the Yankees lead at 5-0 with the Red Sox coming to bat here in the second. Let's check the upcoming telecast, brought to you by Ford. Expect more, get more. Let your Tri-State quality Ford dealers show you why there's more to afford. And tomorrow afternoon, the Yankees and the Red Sox conclude this 3-game series. It will be televised on MSG, and then they will move on to Chicago to take on the Chicago White Sox, Albert Bell and company, Monday at 7 p.m., Tuesday and Wednesday, both 8 o'clock starts. And then the next game on the WB11, Thursday, back in New York at Yankee Stadium at 7:30. Red Sox invade Yankee Stadium. We'll have it for you right here on the WB11. 23 pitches for Wells, TJ, in the first inning, as John Valentin leads it off for the Red Sox here in a second.
I know David Wells doesn't like to pitch this way, but you got to lead right there. Posada's perfect. Just stay right there and even move out farther. You got a 5-run lead. Force those guys to go out on the plate and try to hook it into the corner, and when they start going out on the plate, then you can throw the cutter in on them, because Hirschbeck will call it.
Went inside and pops him up. It'll be out of play. Well, you talk about a tough time for the outfielders when the ball goes up in the air. How about the catcher when that ball goes straight up in the air behind home plate? They don't have sunglasses. They don't have anything. They just maybe a little bit of that, black cord their eye or whatever.
They're tough. That's the John Madden position back there, in the mud and all that.
And Posada catching. He caught last night. He's catching this afternoon because of David Wells. He caught that perfect game at Yankee Stadium. So Joe Torre stays with that combination. Another pitch foul back and out of play.
A lot of managers don't like that. Managers that I've had, you get a little something going with a catcher, and all of a sudden, you know, you're going along and you have 2 or 3 good games, and then another pitcher comes up, maybe a left-handed pitcher, and they'll put the right-handed hitting catcher in there, and it just throws up. Not so much you should be able to pitch to anybody, but you just have a little confidence that you've pitched well 2, 3, 4 games with one catcher. You just kind of like keep it going. Joe Torre understands that.
Nice backhand by Jeter. Bobbles it momentarily, but he makes it up with that strong arm. So he throws out Valentin, one gone.
Actually, what it is common sense. And Joe Torre's got that.
And that good feeling that you would have.
Well, Joe was a catcher, sure,
Yeah.
and, you know, and he understood it. And Derek Jeter bobbled the ball, but you can make mistakes in the field if you've got a good arm, because that hose can make up for a few miscues.
Unlimited potential at short for the Yankees and Derek Jeter.
His limitations are limitless. Huh?
Mike Benjamin, who plays shortstop in place of Garcia Parra, another guy that has unlimited potential.
Well, we were talking about that today. There are 3 shortstops in the American League: Rodriguez, Jeter, and Garcia Parra.
David Wells makes a nice play, 2 out.
Somebody is going to get shorted come All-Star game. It's just like it was at first base. They had Herbeck, Mo Vaughn, Mattingly. See the fastball away? Stay out there, David. Just stay out there all day long, and you'll get those balls coming back to you. Hirschbeck likes to call the ball away, and the batters don't like to see the ball away and make them adjust to you outside. But some shortstop is going to get slighted in the next 4 or 5 years.
The batter is Jason Varitek, the catcher. Well, you take a look at, the top 10 in almost every category. Jeter is in the top 10 in batting average. Rodriguez is number 1. That's not Rodriguez out in Seattle, but Von Rodriguez of Texas.
A-Rod's got, what, 17, 18 home runs?
A-Rod, which is the shortstop in Seattle, has 18 home runs. He leads the American League.
Wow. So the future is bright in the American League at the shortstop position with those 3 guys.
Good curveball swung on and missed, strike 3. So a little bit of a tough inning for Wells in the first inning, but he mows the Red Sox down here in the second. 1, 2, 3. Yankees lead at 5-0. York Yankees baseball is sponsored by Jeep, the most awarded brand of 4x4s on earth. Well, you get somewhat of a view of what the left fielder sees here at Fenway with the Yankees in front 5-0. A difficult field to play, like in Old Yankee Stadium. Left field in Old Yankee Stadium was a difficult field to play. Here, because of the green monster and having to judge fly balls off of that wall, at Old Yankee Stadium having to judge where you stand in the outfield since it was so big. Sometimes you'd be too short, and most of the time you were too deep.
Well, I think we were talking about that one time at the stadium, and you said that because it was so deep, right in back of the left fielder, in the old park, it was 404, right to that left field wall, and you get standing back there playing where the warning track is, and you're 370 feet from home plate.
Yeah, left center was like 427 is what it was. Strawberry leads it off for the Yankees, exactly what he did in the second inning with a base hit. That's what ignited that 5-run inning for the Yankees. As we take a look at the Toyota box score, Knobloch 2 for 2, but he has that huge grand slam in that second inning. As always, when Strawberry walks to the plate here against the Red Sox, they put the Ted Williams shift on him. You can see the three guys on the right side, and that third baseman. Look where the third baseman is. He's playing shortstop.
The third baseman is over farther now than he was in the first inning, and Strawberry hit the ball up the middle. They've taken that hole away from him. they've taken the ball up the middle away from him by the third baseman, but you didn't need it because John Hirschbeck called him out on a low curveball check swing.
Strawberry tried to check his swing.
I don't think he did.
Well, they appealed to McClellan.
Whoa, yes he did.
Well, it looked like he went a little bit too far. McClellan will ring him up after the appeal.
And that's all you got to see. The right hand's up. Tim McClellan hands on his hips.
That'll bring up Posada, who walked his only time up. Derek Lowe started for the Red Sox, and he has now been relieved by John Wasden out of the bullpen. Wasden, also 25 years old, 6'2", 190 pounds. He was a guy that was a part of that Jose Canseco trade. #1 pick. And I guess the best thing you can put alongside John Wasden at this particular time is that he has potential. He hasn't really proven himself yet.
The big P. You're a prospect, and you better start doing some things because all of a sudden then you become a suspect. And that's when...
Potential to suspect? You don't want that, right?
You don't want that one.
Take a look at our Budweiser out-of-town scoreboard. 3-0 pitch in there for a call strike. Cincinnati, Colorado all tied up.
And we used to do some college games down in Florida, in the Florida State Seminoles, and Wasden was pitching there. Paul Wilson, Jonathan Johnson. I mean, they had three pretty good pitchers on that club. Paul Wilson, #1 pick of the Mets, who's been troubled with arm problems.
Yeah.
And Jonathan Johnson it was the #1 pick of the Texas Rangers when the Rangers had a chance to pick Kerry Wood, and they bypassed Kerry Wood for Jonathan Johnson.
No, they'll never hear that, the last of that either, right? Chad Curtis with a solid single to left field back in the second. That drove in a run. Well, you can't go wrong if you're Joe Torre. When you make out the lineup card every day.
Well, who do I want to put in left field? Tim Raines? Okay, he's
Curtis, Raines, Strawberry. They had a battle in spring training to see who was going to start in left field. And I don't think there was a loser in the crowd. I think they all won. Biggest part of that, TJ, in my opinion, when you have three guys that are battling for a job, once it has been settled that they all understand and now they just know what their job is, and they go along and don't gripe about it and don't think that they're getting the short end of the stick.
Of all that battle, the one that I did not go to spring training, but I followed it, the one I was glad to see come out still in there is this young man hitting right here, because here's a guy that just battles and battles and battles. And tough man right there to unseat Tim Raines, a good speed switch hitter, but boy, I tell you, Chad Curtis is a bulldog.
And a breaking ball in for a call strike. Now it's 1-2 on Curtis with one out here in the third. Well, the crowd is chanting something here at Fenway. I can't quite make it out up here. If that pitch it up high, is it "Let's Go Yankees"?
I don't. It's "Let's Go" something.
All the years that I have been coming to Fenway and have been a part of this rivalry, knowing this ballpark, you can never have enough runs.
No.
Never have enough runs, like the Yankees last night, cruising along with a 4-0 lead, and then it's 4-1. Then next thing you know, At the end of one inning, it's 5-4 Red Sox.
You know, the wind, we commented the wind blowing in. I cannot remember, of all the years I played here.
Jammed him and sends it out into shallow right field. Coming on is Bragg. He won't get there. Perfectly placed. Another hit for Curtis. 2 men on, 1 man out for the Yankees here in the third.
I thought Darren Lewis could have had a shot at that ball, the center fielder, but it was almost like the Chad Curtis, Derek Jeter in the first inning. The ball was hung up in the air, and you see Curtis isn't even running hard. And Darren Lewis was the one that was closest, but right here it's just they kind of just fell in the middle of the 3 of them. And if they kept going, you could have had all 3 of them hit each other like the Three Stooges or the Keystone Cops.
Brocious with a chance to knock in Posada.
You know what? While I was saying, Bob, with the wind blowing in, I can't recall more than maybe once or twice of the wind blowing out very, very hard. Yeah, you'll get a nice little breeze, but I mean, you know, when the wind really blows out, where you get the fly balls, and every fly ball is an adventure, especially the one going to left field.
That's the flag out in center field. That's not really the barometer here. Well, hit into left center field. Moving over is Lewis, and it's going to be off the wall. Posada will score. They're going to wave around Curtis, and the throw will be over the head of Varitek. 2 runs on that double by Brocious, and the Yankees will take a 7-0 lead.
We were talking about the wind blowing in. That ball was hit hard enough for the ball to get out of here with no wind, but the ball got caught up in the air. Brocious got a good swing at that, good extension, and Darren Lewis played that. See how far back he was? Last night, Troy O'Leary got caught close to the wall, and the ball got by him. That ball, Lewis read that the ball was going to hit off the monster, and he just laid back and played it for a double. And Chad Curtis had the chance to slide. He came in with standing up with a little forearm into Varitek.
And Dale Swain sends one into right field. This time Bragg catches up with it. So Swain now, he has hit the ball hard 2 times. He's hit it right on the nose, and it's come up with nothing.
Number 11.
The real barometer here at Fenway is the flag that's up above the press box here. That's the highest point of this ballpark. And it appears that the flag is blowing somewhat to right field. That's the one they go by because of the other flag, a little bit of a swirling action for it. Nevertheless, here's Mr. Grand Slam, Chuck Knobloch.
One of the things we were taught when I was just a kid in baseball, when you come to the ballpark, check the flags. First thing you do, if you're an outfielder, infielder, sometimes if the wind's blowing out in Wrigley Field, pitchers would get sore throats, postnasal drip, anything to get out of that one.
Well, of course, on Memorial Day weekend, the flag is very prevalent in America. I know what you're talking about. You go to Wrigley Field, or if you're a pitcher, you don't even want to look up to see which way the wind's blowing. But if you're a hitter, first thing you do is check which way the flag is blowing.
But you're supposed to do that anyway as a defensive player, so you can know how to position yourself, or if a high fly ball off to your right might blow back at you, or you've got a chance to catch it. Got to play the elements as well as the baseball.
Inside corner, strike 3. So Knobloch is gone. You can't believe the call from Hirschbeck. But the Red Sox can believe that the Yankees pick up 2 more. They now lead it 7-0. New York Yankees baseball is brought to you by Ford. Expect more, get more. Let your Tri-State quality Ford dealers show you why there's more to afford. And the Prudential billing building in the background here at Fenway. It's just off the right field line. Fenway and I guess Tiger Stadium, the oldest ballparks in the American League now. Lou Merloni, that is, leading off here in the 9th inning. As we mentioned, Nearing on the shelf and hurt right now, so the rookie second baseman takes over. Hits it hard, but Knobloch is there, so one gone. Pedro Martinez. Now the Yankees, you talk about living a charmed life. They missed Martinez in this series. They've missed Randy Johnson the last 3 years.
That's amazing, isn't it? When I was in their clubhouse today, he walked by me. His brother Ramon is big, is tall. He's not very big. I mean, you know, 6'1", 6'2", but his brother's about 6'5", 6'6".
Darren Lewis batting. Strike one to Lewis. Martinez has raised the level of this starting staff up about a notch or two. One thing, it's kind of like having a Ron Guidry. It's kind of like having Dan Duquette, the general manager, who has taken away some of the bad feelings about him since he made that Martinez deal. Boy, he caught a lot of heat when he let Roger Clemens go, obviously, and now that's subsided because of Martinez. Should be an easy play for O'Neill in right field. It is. 2 gone.
Well, the thing that Martinez does, and this is speaking as a pitcher, when you've got a horse, and you said it, he goes out there and pitches a gem, you don't want to be the slug on the staff, so all of a sudden, not that you're going to pitch any better, but you're going to say, I got it, and you elevate your game to compare to his game. Not that you could compare to Martinez, but he brings the level of pitching up.
Bragg, the hitter, with 2 outs. Well, what I was going to say, when you have Guidry, you have a guy like Whitey, Ford, Pedro Martinez, you don't normally go into that real long slump or losing streak.
That's right.
You know, because you got them going out every 4 or 5 days, and the quality pitchers that they are, they keep you out of that long losing streak. Get hard back up the middle. Nice play by Knobloch at second, so it's another 1-2-3 inning for the Yankees at Wells, and it's 7-0 Yanks. Back at Fenway, top of the 4th, Yankees in front 7-0. And Wasden's first pitch to Jeter in for a call strike. Jeter 1 for 2 this afternoon. Inside. Now it's 1-1. Brian Cashman, the general manager for the Yankees, on hand for this second game. He was here last night. Alongside him was George Steinbrenner, the owner of this ball club. And once again, the ball was hit hard, and Benjamin obviously just misjudged it or didn't see it. It was off of his glove. It should have been caught. We'll see how they score it.
They may score that a base hit, but that's an error. You hit the ball hard. Benjamin just jumps, and the ball, it wasn't tough, Bobby. That was not a tough play.
I think that they are going to score that an E6.
You know, batters don't like to, they hit the ball right on the button. Like to get a base hit, but this is the major leagues, and that was a relatively catchable ball. Very catchable.
So it is an error on the shortstop, and Paul O'Neill bats for the 3rd time in this game. Paul has had a problem from the get-go
well, I tell you,
this afternoon, and I don't know, you mentioned it right on that he was more worried about Hirschbeck in his strike zone than hitting this today.
And it's just like he's worried about John Hirschbeck's strike zone instead of worrying about what the pitcher's going to throw him. Go up there and swing.
Pops it up left side. And Valentin will watch the ball come back. It was way back in the stands with the wind blowing from left to right. Brings it back, and so there's one gone. O'Neill thought it was way back in the stands here. It's hard to foul out because there's not a whole lot of foul territory.
That ball was, you see Valentin going right to the wall like you're supposed to, and then coming in. He's looking to see how far over he's going to get. He doesn't have to worry about that. He has to worry about coming in and catching it. And Paul O'Neill sitting there, that ball was probably 10 or 15 rows into the stands, and the wind blew it back onto the field. Not only does he have to worry about John Hirschbeck, he's got to worry about the wind now.
And Williams steps in. Williams 0 for 2.
Good breaking ball.
You know, Bernie batted right-handed against Tim Wakefield, the knuckleballer, right-handed knuckleballer. Last night he hit a 3-run home run, his 5th. So I asked him this afternoon why he did that. And he said, well, you know, I know Wakefield is going to throw nothing but knuckleballs, and I just feel a little bit more comfortable hitting from the right side off of him. Obviously he did. He said, now the other knuckleballers I like to turn around from the left side and hit against him. Candy, they'll throw more fastballs and a breaking ball, and I just seem to pick them up a little better. Being a switch hitter, you have that privilege.
Boy, is that nice.
Boy, that would have been real nice, especially when you had to face guys like Carlton, Mickey Lolich, Tommy John.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Fernando
you stayed up all night worried about getting off me.
One ball, one strike to Bernie. And a nice stop by Veritek will hold the runner at first. Bernie up close to that American League leaderboard in walks with 32.
You expect to see Ricky Henderson up there?
Well, you got Jim Thome there, and he also leads the American League in strikeouts. So he's either walking or striking out. 3 balls and a strike to Williams. Boy, the crowd has really quietened down here at Fenway. You take a look up at the left-hand corner, it's 7-0 Yankees. There's a lot to do with it. Bernie will take off the 3-1 pitch. Hit high in the air left field. O'Leary over, Lewis over. He will try. It's off the wall. Jeter will have to hold at third. Jeter couldn't tell. He was watching the outfielders. He couldn't tell if it was going to be up off the wall or if the outfielders were going to be able to get underneath it. That's that problem we talked about, judging that fly ball in left field.
Darren Lewis went right back to the wall thinking he may have a catch. You see him jump. And good teamwork right there that Troy O'Leary came over to back him up. And Derek Jeter has to hold up. What's he going to do? And he's just standing there watching, and then he sees the ball fall. And he took off for third base. And it's tough here. Not only is this a good offensive ballpark, but that wall can keep runs from scoring that normally wouldn't score, or that would score.
And with one out, they will intentionally walk Strawberry to load the bases and pitch to Posada. Pretty impressive numbers for the bottom 5 in this order, starting with Strawberry in the game so far. This ball club 5 for 10, the bottom 5 with 3 walks. They've scored 6 runs already.
That's why this lineup, Bobby, as a pitcher, it's so tough because you get through the top 4 and you go, boy, you know, I've gotten through there, and then the bottom guys just come up and beat you with the stick.
So bases loaded now for the Yankees.
You know, the first time you see the pitchers, when the catcher comes out to talk to the pitcher, first time I ever saw the pitchers hold the glove over the mouth, I thought the guy had bad breath, and he didn't want the catcher, you know, to be offended. And I never put the glove over there. They're afraid that so somebody's going to pick up and read your lips. I never, you know, I never had much to say. Usually the coach was out there chewing your butt out, and you just said, yes, sir, I am. I realize I am. I should quit.
Maybe you should have put that up there. The people probably thought you were a yes man. Posada swings and misses. I detect Jorge swinging a little bit too hard here in the last 3 or 4 games, and it looks like he's trying to lift the ball and hit it out of the ballpark.
When you start to do that, what do you try and do? Just try to hit the ball the opposite way, stay in longer?
Try to think about driving the ball up the middle, keeping that shoulder level, the lead shoulder level. What happens is when you begin to try to lift the ball, that back shoulder dips, and your head flies to the right, your hands come forward, and you really don't see the baseball that well because your eyes are moving about, you know, they're moving about 5 or 6 inches. Hit hard and knocked down by Movan. They will only get one. Jeter will come on to score. The Yankees will take an 8-0 lead.
A hard hit ball by Jorge Posada. I mean, he scorches it. You look at that perfect swing, and that just handcuffed Big Mo. Mo Vaughn did the right thing. When he couldn't come up with it, he recovered. He's going to go home to cut the runner off at home, but when he missed the ball, he went right to the only play he had. Get an out, gave up a run.
So Curtis now will step in. Runners have moved up to second and third. And he pops it up. Veritek behind home plate, and he won't catch up with it.
The bat boy interfered with him.
I know the bat boy was there, but I think the wind had something to do with this too.
It did, but now watch this. You'll see the bat boy right in the middle right there. He's running out of the way. But that wind brought that ball back, and the young man's trying to run out of the way. He thinks the ball's up in the stands. I thought the ball was up in the stand. That's a tough play.
So new life for Curtis. Not the bat boy's fault.
No, that wind brought that ball right on back.
Just the elements got him on that one. We were talking about how hard it would be for the catcher to look up into the sky, you know, this high sky, without any sunglasses or any protection, and pick the ball up.
There for a while, Bobby, that the flag, now it's blowing kind of where it was from left to right, but it was blowing right out towards that fleet sign. You can see right there, it's blowing dead out to right field. It's about a 1.5 club wind right there.
Well hit, and scatters a couple of Yankees in the dugout. And Wells says, hey, I've got protection on my left hand. Bring it over here like a glove. Sure.
You know what?
They all say that, but when the ball is hit in there, you know, they're the first to move.
First to move. You know what he told me today? He said, I got to get you into Metallica and all that stuff.
I'll tell you what, you got to like the guy. Talk about a free spirit.
I said, yeah.
Another foul ball. Let's see what he does. David Wells, he's the same guy, whether he does good or bad. Very much a free spirit, as we mentioned, loves that hard rock music, especially Metallica. And you would suspect that he wouldn't be nervous his second time out after pitching that perfect game at Yankee Stadium, that he would be just David Wells.
Well, he would be, but still there's got to be a little adrenaline flowing.
Valentin at third will throw out Curtis. And the Yankees are gone here in the top of the 4th inning. They pick up another run. And they lead the Red Sox 8-0. Get ready, because the original terror of Tokyo is about to wreak havoc on the WB11. That's right, it's Godzilla, and he's going to rip and roar, stomp and chomp through 16 fire-breathing hours of monster madness. The WB11's Godzilla-thon starts this afternoon. That's this afternoon at 5 o'clock right here on the WB11. And I cannot wait. How about you, TJ? The Godzilla-thon.
We should do something like that to raise money for charity.
Bottom of the 4th inning, Big Mo Vaughn takes a hack at a high fastball.
You have a walk-a-thon and a read-a-thon, the Godzilla-thon.
We've got one going on here on the WB11, starting at 5 o'clock. Mo struck out his only time at home plate. Fastball will back him away. Let's check out the batting leaders, brought to you by Nissan. Mo up with 12 home runs. As we mentioned, Rodriguez, the shortstop at Seattle, leads it with 18. And followed by his teammate, Ken Griffey Jr. You talk about somebody, nice play just to knock the ball down the right field line by the ball guy. Not a ball boy down there, it's a ball guy. But Mo Vaughn with that uppercut swing that he has, and he's got, he's got those arms leaned out over home plate. He just has all that padding. He gets plunked quite a bit there on the right side. Sends this one high and deep in the left field. Curtis will look up, and it is gone. A home run to left field for Mo Vaughn, number 13. And it's 8-1 New York.
That's why Mo Vaughn is so tough to pitch against in this ballpark. You throw the ball inside, and you might hit him, and then you get the ball out over the plate. That was a good pitch. That was a good pitch.
Former Seton Hall Flash
just caught that ball back of him almost and used his hands. This is what Jim Rice said. If he gets to using his hands like he should, he'll start hitting the ball hard to left field.
Mo now has 5 lifetime home runs versus David Wells. Leyritz walked back in the 1st. And the curveball over. Now it's 0-2. Well, what will the Red Sox do with Mo Vaughn? Will they sign him at the end of the year? That's the controversy here in Baltimore. Strike 3 with another curveball. Leyritz is gone. Now that they've signed Pedro Martinez, Dan Duquette to that $70+ million contract, his next job is, will they be able to sign Vaughn?
Well, there's a lot of animosity between Mo Vaughn and that man right there, Dan Duquette. Mo wanted out of here because they let Clemens go, and he didn't think they were going to field a competent ball club. Now that they got a pretty good team on the field, maybe they can mend the bridges. But if not, I think you can look for him to end up in Baltimore.
Troy O'Leary. And quickly in front of him, 0-2 count from Wells. And the 0-2 pitch, line into right field for a base hit. O'Leary, who got it started for the Red Sox last night with a leadoff home run in the 7th inning. Just a hanger, wasn't it?
Just a hanging curveball, 0-2, trying to throw the ball on the outside part of the plate. Posada moved outside. David Wells left it right down the middle. Middle. Belt high, middle of the plate.
Stepping in now is John Valentin. I want to ask you, TJ, about David Wells and kind of what he would be feeling at this time. Talk about concentration and coming off that perfect game and the big high starting this game with a consecutive streak going for him. That's gone now. The Yankees had this huge lead, 8-1 early on. Is it going to be hard for him to keep his concentration?
I don't think it will be, because he has there is a plastic beach ball out on the field. I thought it was my fastball fell out there, but the grounds crew comes, retrieves it. But no, he's got a good season going, and all that other stuff you never expect in your wildest dreams, but you do expect to win ball games every time out, and that's what you got to focus on.
Toyota box score for the Red Sox. Only 3 hits this afternoon, and that's 3 more than he gave up in his last start through 9 innings. Two balls and a strike to Valentin. Valentin, the third baseman. I had a chance to talk to Rico Petrocelli this morning. He was doing a radio show. Visited with him a little bit. We talked about, some of the old rivalries that we enjoyed when we played. I remember Rico Petrocelli. I mean, a dead pull hitter. He used to just pepper that ball in left field here at Fenway. And then when he would come to Yankee Stadium, he'd hit them 420 and they'd be out.
He had, as a right-handed hitter, Rico Petrocelli had the best swing for this ballpark. That little uppercut flick swing, kind of a right-handed Oscar Gamble swing. And it was perfect for this ballpark. It was just nice little fly ball, get out on the screen. He had 40, 41, 42 home runs in 1 year, and 3/4 of those were hit here at Fenway.
Just wear that left field wall out.
The thing I like about last night, disregarding scores or whatever, I walked back to the hotel. Now, I know I asked you if you wanted to walk back, but you said it was too far, but I walked back to the hotel. I heard the people were talking about baseball. They were talking about the Yankees and the Red Sox, and can the Sox sustain it? Can the Yankees this and that? It was so gratifying and uplifting to go all the way back to the hotel and see a lot of young people here at the ballpark talking about baseball.
Well, hit into right field. O'Neill going back. O'Neill on a warning track, and he reaches up, and it's over his glove, and O'Neill bangs into the wall. And O'Neill could be hurt. It's a 2-run home run. And it's going to be an 8-3 Yankee lead as the ball continues to carry into right field here at Fenway. Now, is O'Neill all right? There is padding around the right field wall.
That was a good piece of hitting. The ball's on the outside corner. Valentin went out, lifted it, kind of like Knobloch did, and you see Paul went back and caught his ribs right on the corner of the padding. And that hurts.
O'Neill appears to be all right. Mike Benjamin with the next batter. He hits the first pitch back to David Wells, so 2 gone now here in the 4th. Remember, we said you cannot get enough runs here at Fenway. And the Red Sox are battling back. That's something that they have done all year long. Come from behind to win ball games, such as they did last night.
As Jerry Remy and I were talking, and he said, Tommy, the reason we're battling back and the reason we're winning a lot of games in the 7th, 8th, and 9th innings is because our pitching is shutting people down. And in years gone by, that never happened. Once we got down and you got to the bullpen, it was even worse. There's Jerry Remy, second baseman for the old Bo Sox. Played all over.
Jeter throws it off the mark, but Dale Swain makes a nice play at first base to put the tag on Varitek. O'Neill appears to be all right, but it's still an 8-3 lead. up 3 runs for Boston.
For New York,
And Paul O'Neill, who
the third baseman.
has a little chat with looks like a Red Sox fan. They're giving him some instructions there. There's no love lost, obviously, between the Yankees and the Red Sox. And not only the players, but also the fans. And it being such an intimate ballpark, you can hear just about every fan's comment. So you can't drown it out.
What a rivalry, though, isn't it?
And the Yankees have not lost a 3-game series yet in 1998. They did lose last night's game, and here in the 5th inning, they lead 8-3. And Scott Brocious, who is 2 for 2, having a great day, will lead it off for the Yanks. Brocious now 3 for 3 of this game. And the bottom of this Yankee order continues to hit.
Scott Brocious can bunt. We saw him do it this afternoon. Got the ball out over the plate and up. Scott Brocious laced it out into left field. Hey, it's amazing when you aren't expected to carry a ball club and be the man that they go to. You loosen up, lighten up, and your fielding's going to be there. But Scott Brocious swinging a good bat this year.
What a great pickup that was.
Oh man.
Dale Swaim now, who bats 9th. He has hit the ball hard 2 times. Nice play by Jose Cardinal. Last night he let one go through the wickets, and Tom Zimmer and a lot of the guys let him know about that this afternoon. And he promptly told us that it's hard to catch a ball when you've got gloves in your back pocket. You've got protection for the, he's got all those things that he gives the runners when they get to first base, or once they get to first base, they give a couple of gloves to him. He said you can't. Well,
he's got
see,
gloves.
there he is. He's got gloves and he's got things on his hands, and normally he'll have some. That was his excuse for not bending down far enough to catch the ball last night. Will take off. The pitch is swung on, and Varitek's throw to second is not in time. The hit and run didn't work, but Brocious ends up at second.
Hit and run, sinker down in the dirt. Varitek, not a bad throw. A little one hop to Benjamin. Brocious showing his speed, but he actually stole that ball, or that base on the pitcher. High leg kick. Wise didn't give him a good look.
Inside, that'll leave the count up at 2-2. Rich Garza's now warming up.
I think Garces and Mo Vaughn go to the same workout parlor.
Just fouled off to the right side.
Dale Swaim is going to hit the ball to the right side. Nobody out. Brocious using his speed to get to second base. Dale Swaim, I think, is a good enough hitter, even with 2 strikes, that he can pull the ball to the right side to get Brocious over to third base for Knobloch.
And he does just that. Backhanded nicely by Merlani at second. Brocious moves to third, so Knobloch will have a chance to knock him in with 1 out.
Number 11, the second baseman.
In the second inning. Bases loaded. Knobloch sends it deep into right field. A grand slam home run. So Knobloch with 4 RBIs and a home run in the game. He is 2 for 3. He will have a chance to knock in another for the Yanks as the infield comes in now for the Boston Red Sox. You know, those are little things that you were just talking about Dale Swain doing, and it looked like and appeared that the ball was away from him.
The ball was away.
He reached out and kind of hooked it to make sure that he could pull the ball the right side. It won't show anything in the stats tomorrow morning, but it certainly says something about what kind of player Dale Swain is.
It was a 4-3 out, but it was a team play. And now you may not get the run in, but you know what? If you do it enough times, you're going to get that run in. And with the wind blowing out like this in this ballpark, we'll try to get as many runs as you can. You see the infield playing in. They know that the 9th run, they want to cut that off because 8-3 may sound like a huge lead, but not in Fenway.
Out of foul, back and out of play. So it's going to be 1 ball, 2 strikes now to Knobloch. We mentioned Wasden, only 25 years old, from Belvoir, Virginia. 190-pounder. Him up, and it may not be deep enough to score. Brocious from third. O'Leary just beyond the shortstop area there makes the play, and there's 2 gone. Brocious cannot advance.
This is a good play by Brocious. Watch him tag up. Now the ball is only about 150 feet from home plate, but he takes off running like hard, and O'Leary's got to throw the ball in. What that does, you may think, oh, well, he's got no chance, but the outfielder may throw the ball away. It may short hop the catcher. The pitcher may not be backing up. All those things should happen, you would think, from 150 feet, but sometimes it doesn't.
And you make him try to hurry the throw, too. He may drop it out of his glove. That didn't happen, but Derek Jeter gets a chance with 2 outs to try to knock in Brocious at third. The infield now will move back. Some pretty nifty footwork by Jeter avoiding that pitch inside.
That looked like a double toe axle right there on an ice. Whoa, just got it back out of the way. Right at the belt buckle. Yeah. Make him move his feet.
Hit hard, but right to Benjamin at short. So the Yankees are going to waste a runner at third with less than 2 outs. They're gone, but they lead it 8-3. Bottom of the 5th, Yankees lead it 8-3. You can follow the Yankees all year long and keep on the inside track with Yankees Magazine. Read about in-depth features, minor league reports, and pinstripe nostalgia. To order a subscription, call 1-800-GO-YANKEES. Get a 1-year subscription for only $29.97 and stay up to check that $29.97 and stay up to date on all your favorite Yankee players. Bottom of the 5th inning. Lou Merlani, the rookie second baseman, leads it off. He's 0 for 1. Wells is in front 0-2. Yankees lead it 8-3 on what is a beautiful afternoon, Saturday afternoon here at Fenway. Capacity crowd on hand once again. come to Fenway, I think, what is the capacity crowd here? 35,000 maybe?
35, 36.
You put 31 to 35,000 at Yankee Stadium, and it looks like a bad crowd. Here, I mean, it's capacity. But they're in a process of maybe building a new Fenway Park here in Boston. Popped him up right side. And even though it's a pop-up, it's not an easy play, but Swain takes care of it.
Yeah, the daytime total at Fenway Park is 33,455. Nighttime total 33,871, and that's why the difference. They block out a section of seats, and Bobby can tell you that when they put people in there in the daytime, it is virtually impossible to pick the ball up. Even in the nighttime, when it's, 7 o'clock start, the sun has not gone down. There's still a brightness out there, and it's hard to pick the ball up.
That's 400 seats out there that they block out. That is in the batter's eye, and years ago they didn't used to do that. And you can see all the white shirts just to the right of that. And that would come into play when the pitcher would deliver the ball towards home plate. Very difficult to pick up. But now that they're making $7, $8, $9 million, they black it out and give the hitter a chance to hit.
When they had, it was especially tough when a left-handed pitcher was on the mound here, because that left-hander's throwing right out of that area, and especially a tall left-handed pitcher.
Two balls, two strikes to Lewis. Well, one good thing about the Red Sox years ago, they didn't have many left-handed starters.
That's right.
You didn't see many left-handed pitchers pitch here at Fenway. Not so today. Nice play by Brocious at third, and there's two gone. Why was all the myth about not pitching a left-hander here at Fenway? I know the Green Monster played a lot in that, but
Brocious on a good play right there. The ball came up, and he caught it about his left armpit. But, whoa, look at that. Right off his hip. Good play. I think the left-handed pitching here, if you pitch right, Mel Parnell told me, he said, I pitched well in Fenway because he had a little cut fastball that he ran in on right-handed hitters. Now, Gary Peters was only here 2 years. Gary Peters won 16 games 2 years in a row, and Gary pitched sinker away, slider in. When they had Hurst, Ojeda, and the other left-hander. They had three. Hurst, Ojeda, and
Bill Lee.
But Bill Lee pitched well here. But they had the three left-handers. I remember one series, the Yankees came in with three left-handers.
Talking about Roger Moret.
John Tudor.
John Tudor.
Pitched well here, and but they broke that up because the thinking is you're going to play 81 games in this ballpark, and left-handers can't pitch here. If left-handers can pitch, they can pitch here just as well as they can anyplace else.
And Darren Bragg takes one on the outside corner, strike three. 4 strikeouts now for David Wells. We have played 5 at Fenway, and New York leads it by 5. Yankees lead it by 5 here at the top of the 6th inning. When did New York stay at one of the 9 Manhattan East Suite hotels, where you can get a spacious suite for the price of an ordinary hotel room? You can call 1-800-MESUITE, and when you call, ask for a couple of guys that really take good care of you. Tom Chamberlain and also Mark Hurwitz. New pitcher, TJ, is a third of the game for the Bo Sox.
Rich Garces, originally signed by the Minnesota Twins, and I think it was the Minnesota Vikings that signed him. 1-0, 3.18 ERA, 17 innings pitched. Walked about 4.5 runners per 9 innings. 15 strikeouts. Rich Garces at one time was one of the better pitchers that the Twins had in their organization. They were really high on him.
O'Neill leads it off here in the 6th. He is 0 for 3. the glove of the second baseman out into center field, so that should be scored a base hit.
Merlone going to his right and has to backhand the ball and catches it about ankle high and then kicks it out of his glove.
The center fielder, Bernie Williams.
10 hits now for the Yankees in this game. That'll bring up Bernie Williams. Well, on a beautiful afternoon, I think it's the same weather that we have here in Boston as they have back in New York. And I would suspect that probably a few people out grilling some hamburgers and some hot dogs and enjoying the game and enjoying the beautiful sunshine.
Beautiful holiday weekend. They got a long weekend.
Probably some guys in their golf carts that are driving around playing golf that have their television sets on and tuned in to the WB11. Maybe one under par at this particular time through 12 or 13 holes. And there's some sunshine out here, and obviously it's tan time. Hopefully they have some sunscreen on.
The place to be on those sunny days is right back up underneath that scoreboard. Nice shade. Close to the concession stands.
Up high for a ball. Now it's 1-2.
Right up underneath there. Look at that. Right. Unobstructed view, unless the fly ball goes up. Maybe we might do an opening. We could tape an opening from out there sometime.
We? Look at Bernie. Slaps it the opposite way for a base hit. So the first two men are on for the Yankees here in the sixth. And that will bring up Strawberry.
Garces throws a high fastball. Obviously you want the ball down. But Garces got it high, and that just lets the batter level on the ball. See Bernie hitting with a firm front side. Out over the plate, drove the ball to left field.
They will put the shift on again for Strawberry in a double play situation.
But they can't move the third baseman over as far as they want to, as they did with nobody on. Because if that's the case, the runner on, it would be a foot race between O'Neill and Valentin, and who's going to get to third base. So he's got to stay someplace. He's got to stay someplace close towards third.
Now the shortstop is going to move back on to the other side of the second base side.
You got to do something to hold the runner on, yeah.
And it's 0-2.
You know, one of the things that they used to do, they won't let you do it anymore, is you could shift around out there, move while the pitcher's throwing, and they took that out because they said it was distracting to the hitter.
A throw back to second, not in time.
In one of the old Dodger Giant rivalries, Eddie Stanky was in back of second base taking calisthenics to try to distract the hitter.
You mean taking jumping jacks? You know,
jumping jacks and all that stuff out there.
Kind of like they do at a professional basketball game.
Like when they wave the
behind the goal.
Yeah. That's. But they said that you can't do that anymore. Once you're in the position and the pitcher goes to pitch, you have to stay at that position.
Now it's 2-2. Nobody out for the Yanks here in the sixth.
Good hitting count right here. When the pitcher was ahead 1-2, that was his pitch. Now 2-2. You've got to throw your pitch because you don't want the count go 3-2. You want something to happen right here.
And it's up high, and it will go to 3-2. runners will hold. Chopped towards Movant at first, and his only play is a step on the bag, but meanwhile the runners will move up to second and third.
Well, Darryl Strawberry doesn't get a sacrifice, but essentially that's what he did. He moved the runners from first and second to second and third. He'd like to have had a little better swing. But the Yankees last inning had Brocious on third base and Knobloch up with one out. He flew out shallow to left field now with runners on second and third. They're going to walk Posada and get the Chad Curtis.
Well, Posada was the guy that they pitched to in the fourth inning when they intentionally walked Strawberry. So now he gets the free pass so that they can load the bases up and pitch to Curtis. Well, he knows about pitching. He spent several years, 6 years, with the Atlanta Braves as Bobby Cox's third base coach. And I would suspect that the Braves have some pretty good pitching down there. If you had to classify in your day, TJ, 4 starters like the Braves have been throwing out there for several years, the Smoltzes, the Glavins, the Maddoxes, who would you pick that had 4 starters like that?
Well, we had a pretty good staff with the Dodgers. Andy Messersmith, Don Sutton, Claude Osteen, Al Downing, myself. It's hard to get 4 starters. Usually you can get 2 good ones or 3 good ones, but it's hard to get 4.
And the ball gets away from Varitek. O'Neill will come on and score the 9th run for the Yankees. Williams moves to third and Posada to second. It may have been a missed sign by Garces because Varitek didn't really.
And it got
he
John
didn't play that one very
Hirschbeck.
well.
That ball got John Hirschbeck. Varitek was looking for something on the outside part of the plate, and that was a fork ball or a fast ball that Varitek didn't put any leather on, and it got Hirschbeck, it looked like, on the inside of his left leg. He doesn't even put leather on it, and that gets him right on the, looks like on the thigh or the inside of the thigh.
Well, those umpires, like the catchers, they take a beating, and they've got padding, you know, all up and down the front side, and somehow that ball always seems to find some flesh or some bone.
You know, if I was David Wells on my way out, I would just go up to John on the way out and say, John, are you okay? Yeah. Did it hurt your right arm? No. Good.
Well, you worked those umpires over pretty good. I mean, you stayed buddies with those guys. And I guess that's a pretty good play. I mean, they are as much a part of a game when you pitch as anybody. If you don't have them on your side, you'd rather have them on your side than against you, obviously.
If they get it in for you, they can either, as a batter, widen that strike zone out, or as a pitcher, squeeze it down.
2 balls and a strike to Curtis with Williams down at third.
There used to be an old umpire named Ed Hurley, and when you came in the league, he would test young pitchers out, would call a pitch right down the middle of the plate, a ball, and just see how you reacted on the mound. And if you reacted positively, he would be a good umpire. If not, you couldn't throw the ball in a cigar box, and it would be a... Rich Garza's having a tough time throwing the ball down, and I think one of the reasons he has a hard time throwing the ball down, he can't get over his stomach. And when you can't get over your front leg, it's tough to throw the ball low.
Outside, ball 4. The bases will be loaded once again. And the pitching coach, Joe Kerrigan, on his way to the mound.
Joe Kerrigan gave us words of wisdom. Joe Kerrigan, the pitching coach with Montreal for quite a few years. Worked under a pretty good manager up there, Bobby. Felipe Alou.
Yeah. Felipe, a solid player in his own day, and what a job he has done with the rotating superstars in Montreal.
Number 18, the third baseman, Scott Brochet.
I'll tell you this, going back to your, there's Pedro Martinez. You know, you were talking about, was there 4 pitchers? Yes, the Baltimore 4 pitchers, McNally, Palmer, Cuellar, and Pat Dobson. All won 20 games in 1 year.
Well, Brocious is perfect for the day. He is 3 for 3 with an RBI double.
Like for Brocious like to be 4 for 4 right here, do some damage, maybe hit the ball in the gap.
Brocious makes Garza throw at least 1 strike, so it's 1-1.
I would just totally disregard his breaking ball because I don't think he can throw his breaking ball over the plate enough times to get you out. And if he throws it, you spit on it and look for his fastball.
And that would be the breaking ball that you wouldn't even pay attention to. And Brocious goes a little bit too far, and it's strike 2, 1-2.
Fastball inside.
So far, with the bases loaded for Brocious, he's perfect.
Going to go fastball in again, I believe, here.
And it's high. And now the count is 3-2. Nobody warming up for Jimmy Williams and the Red Sox.
He's going to drop a breaking ball on him here, 3-2.
Oh, boy, if he does.
Now, that's the only pitch that he's gotten close to the plate.
And the breaking ball up high, ball 4, and Garces will walk a run in. Yankees lead it 10-3.
He hasn't come close to throwing a strike with his fastball, and his breaking ball was the only thing close to coming to the plate, and that was a wish pitch. He wished it over the plate instead of throwing it and left it high. I think when Joe Kerrigan came out to talk to Garces, he carried a big 25-pound ball and chain, and it's staked right to the mound because he's going to be out there. Sometimes in games, one pitcher has to take the brunt of the infliction because you've got to save your bullpen. And there's a game tomorrow, and you don't want to go through 5 or 6 pitchers in a 10-3 ball game. And that's why sometimes you look in the paper and you see one pitcher gives up 8 or 9 runs. You say, how can they do it? Just like this.
1 ball, 1 strike to Swaim, who's the 9th place batter. Swaim 0 for 3. Posada at 3rd. Curtis down at 2nd. Dan Brocious on at 1st. So ducks on the pond. And it's 2-1. I heard that term someplace, ducks on the pond. Thought I'd use it here. During these kind of games, you kind of bring out everything that you have, you know. Inside, ball 3, 3-1. That's about all I have, so if you got anything, Tommy, just throw it in there.
Well, you know, the cliches that you got to throw out in games like this on the bench.
Was that a cliche?
Just a little.
3-1 pitch popped up with a broken bat. Infield fly rule is called, and there's 2 gone.
Boy, Dale, just 3-1 did not get a real good swing. Kind of a long swing. He got jammed and popped the ball up. This is right here, you could blow the game wide open. And when you got the team down and you've got this ball club struggling, you've got them reeling, well, you go for the knockout punch. You get the base hit, a double right here, and you just take it to them and take the wind out of their sails.
Well, knockout Knobloch is up right now. He hit a grand slam back in the second, so he's got a chance for 2 grand slams in this game.
Tie himself with Tony Cloninger. 2 home runs in 1 ball game. Very, very few ball players have 2 grand slams, in 1 ball game. And
TC, the bullpen coach for the Yankees. It's a 1-1 pitch. Very unlikely. What a trivia question that is, 2 grand slams for the Yankees in uniform.
In uniform, that's right.
Whoa, watch out, Chuck. Narcissus appears that he is just trying to aim the ball now and throw a strike whenever he...
He's just out there wishing. Like I said, he wished that curve ball, and that is he just throwing the ball.
And a breaking ball outside, ball 3-1. There's Tony Cloninger.
Pretty good pitcher in his day,
yes,
too,
sir.
Bobby. I'm telling you.
He could get her up there. He was a pitcher, but he ended up hitting 2 grand slams in 1 game. Just got underneath it. High fly ball. Center field. The wind got a hold of it, but Lewis is there. So Narcissus gives up a couple of runs here in the 6th for the Yanks. Bottom of the 6th coming up. They lead it by 7.
This copyrighted telecast is authorized under rights granted by the New York Yankees solely for the private, non-commercial use of our audience. Any publications, reproductions, retransmissions, or other use of the pictures, descriptions, and accounts of this game without the express written consent of the New York Yankees and WPIX is prohibited.
Yanks in front 10-3 here in the bottom of the 6th inning. Mo Vaughn leads it off for the Bo Sox. Mo 8th on the Boston Red Sox all-time home run list. Number 7 is Rico Petrocelli. We were talking about him. Rico with 210. First pitch inside and low to Vaughn. So you think Vaughn will end up in Baltimore, huh?
Well, if
Palmeiro is gone, and
no, if he's going to leave here, I think Baltimore is a good choice. He hits well in that ballpark, but then if you're alive, you can hit well in that ballpark.
I think the Red Sox will sign him.
I think the Red Sox should sign him.
Yeah.
Because I would hate to see. He is an institution here. Of all the players Boston teams have had, Patriots, Celtics, Red Sox, he is probably civically and civic-minded, does more for this city, and is accepted by the city more than any other ball player. He does a lot for the kids, and he's a Boston fixture, and you should try to keep people like that if you can.
Out of Seton Hall, and also from Norwalk, Connecticut.
He went to Seton Hall, huh? With Cerrone?
Well, I don't know if he didn't go with Cerrone.
No, he's much younger than Rick. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Mo would have been good with that aluminum bat, too.
Oh. Down low, ball 3-2. Had knee surgery last year, along with his little tirade with Dan Duquette, general manager. Whoops, he missed another one in our ball guy down the right field line. That was a tough play, though. I'm not going to
No,
we don't say much about that one.
Red Sox have 3 errors already. You don't want the ball guys to start getting erred. Dan Duquette sitting there. Maybe he was on the phone a little earlier. Maybe he was with going to his banker trying to get a loan to sign Mo Vaughn. But speaking of Mo Vaughn, going to Seton Hall, he was a teammate. John Valentin was a teammate of his at Seton Hall. The Pirates have put out some pretty good players.
And another foul off to the right side. Well, you talk about teammates. How about Darren Bragg? Georgia Tech.
I know it. Garcia Parra.
Veritek, the teammate of Glenn Bragg.
You know, Veritek.
Darren Bragg, I mean.
Veritek was a high school third baseman. Never caught. Went to Georgia Tech, and we'd like for you to catch. He learned how to catch in college, and a pretty good move by Jim Morris, coach of the Ramblin' Wrecks.
Popped him up left side. Glasses down, and Grosh's out into shallow left field. One gone.
Mo Vaughn has that uppercut swing, but you can see he really, when you throw the ball outside, he really likes to get inside and drive the ball to left field. That's why he is tough in this ballpark, because if you pitch him in, he can pull the ball, but if you pitch him away, he just takes it off that left field wall, and you've got to be kind of lucky to pitch to him outside. That, or you got to have a good fastball.
DH Jim Leyritz steps in with 1 out. Well, you know, when you have that uppercut swing, and if your timing is off at all, your bat is slow through the strike zone, and most of the time you'll have to hit the ball to left field.
Jim Rice, the hitting instructor for the Red Sox, wants Mo to use his hands more. Mo, use your hands more.
They did it again.
I can't believe it.
They did it again.
I cannot believe it.
John Sterling, there's Jim Rice there. We're talking about that foul ball that came back up towards the booth up here. Michael Kay and John ducking out of the way of the foul ball.
Nobody went for the ball. Michael just sat there. The ball just kind of just frozen.
There they are. Yep. Just a minute ago, yes, John was showing what he did. Now it's 2-2. Yeah, oh sure, yeah. They're just to the side of us here on the press level. That'll scatter some Yankees on the left side. I don't know about you, TJ, but when those foul balls come our way, I'm getting out of the way of it. I'm not a hero anymore.
I'm not going to challenge him. I didn't challenge him on the mound. Why would I do it here? I don't have a glove.
Right now it is very quiet here at Fenway. Yankees lead at 10-3. Right down Broadway, and Leyritz is struck out for the second time in the game. Strikeout number 5 for Wells, and there's 2 gone.
Jim Leyritz shaking his head. No, that's not a strike. Jim, that was a strike. Now, I know you don't think it was. My heavens. He's looking there. No, there's no way. It's not low. It's not inside. It's not outside. It's a strike.
Troy O'Leary takes one low for a ball. I think a hitter a lot of times thinking and looking for a fastball, and then when you throw a different pitch, they don't see it quite as well, and they don't think it's a strike. O'Leary 1 for 2. Hit hard, but Jeter is there to snag it. And the Red Sox are gone here in the 6th inning. 6 have been played. Yankees lead it by 7. stands for up-to-the-minute scores and highlights, plus your complete WB11 Yankee broadcast schedule. Check out Sal Marciano's scoreboard on the WB11's website. Visit the www.wb11.com. Well, David Wells, TJ, 90 pitches, cruising right along.
2 more innings. 2 more innings would get him into the 8th inning, and you can turn it over to maybe Willie Banks.
And Jeter leads it off here in the 7th inning for the Yankees. 10-3, they lead it.
He pitched 120 innings in the perfect game, but really, people make a big thing out of pitch counts anymore. If you're in shape, you should be able to throw 125, 130 pitches.
That's line down the left field line. Fan reaches out, so a ground rule double. Leadoff double by Jeter. Second hit for Jeter in the game. And Jose will lighten the load over at first base.
Good extension by Derek Jeter right there, and you see a little fan interference here. Ball bounces up, and the fan reaches over, catches the ball. The umpire clasps his hands over his head, and that means fan interference.
I thought maybe they had given O'Neill a base hit his last time up when he hit the ball hard.
They E4'd Merloni.
They changed it to an error on the second baseman. So he's 0 for 4. Hall is not going to like that.
He said, I got to put up with John Hirschbeck and a tough score.
Yeah.
And it's a bright, sunny day.
And now it's 1 ball, 2 strikes on O'Neill.
So the thing about this Yankee ball club, every game it's somebody else rises to the occasion.
Well, hit out into the left center field. Lewis on the warning track. Jeter will tag and go to third. So even though the Yankees are in front by 7, leading at 10-3, the Yankees still hustling on a base pass.
Yes, it is. Paul O'Neill, that little leg kick. And he just you see him kind of look down and toss the bat. He knew that he got just underneath it enough. He didn't really center the bat and the ball. Paul has that little leg kick that of his front leg, unique to him, but it's his timing mechanism.
Infield will come in with Jeter down at third and only 1 out. Bernie 2 for 4 this afternoon.
One of the things I believe that you've got to look for right here. You lost a ball game last night 5-4 in a game that you were up 4-0. And like I said, when you get a ball club down, you want to pound them. If you can beat them 15-3, you just want to let these guys know, hey, you may have won the game last night, but we're better than you. And now, you know, you aren't out there bunting and stealing and things like that, but you're just keep pounding the ball, moving runners over. Try to get the ball. Just let those guys know, okay, you won, but we're better than you are.
Chopper Mo Vaughn at first base, getting up high. So the runner holds at third, and there's 2 gone.
Tell you, for Mo's big size, he makes some pretty athletic plays once in a while. Now, a lot of ball clubs will go on contact, and the old Cardinals, Whitey Herzog Cardinals, with Lankford and Ozzie Smith and Oquendo and guys like that, would go, as soon as that ball hits the ground, they're off towards home. And Mo Vaughn had to jump. Mo might have gotten net on that one.
So Strawberry will try to knock in Jeter at third. The shift is on once again. Nice stop by Varitek.
And Jeter can get a huge lead down at third base because he doesn't have to worry who's going to get him. The shortstop over, the third baseman's over where the shortstop would be playing. A pull hitter, a left-handed pull hitter, and Derek can get down 30 feet down the line if he wants to. I think that would really affect if there's a wild pitch or a passed ball. Jeter can get down so far that if the ball gets just a few feet away from Varitek, Jeter essentially could almost walk home.
Way out in front. And now it's 2-2. Yeah, they used to tell the third base runner you get off as far as the third baseman
is off. So Jeter's home, so come on in.
Now it's 3-2.
Now you see where the third baseman is. Jeter could get off even more than that. Why do you want to stay back with the base? Just come on down, because who's going to get you? And really, as wild as Garces is, and as Varitek has shown that he can mishandle balls back of home plate, man, I would get down there a whole lot farther, Bob.
And I don't think that if he came down 3/4 of the way to the plate, Garces could catch him if he tried to go back to third or try to race him back to third.
Well, Jeter could if he had Buffet written on him.
Another chopper foul off the right side. Come on, Jose, get down. Yes, sir.
Look at that. Jose got down there two times
What
now.
happened, though, he had lightened his load up because when the runner got on, he gave some things back to the runner. So he's not as heavy as he normally is at first base with gloves and shin guards and things like that. Hit down the right field line is smoked. It's in for at least a single. Jeter comes on to score. And another fan interference and a ground rule double. And the Yankees lead it 11-3. Whoops, watch out. Oh, Darren Bragg went over. And that lady was trying her best. But she doesn't come up with it.
That ball was smoked. And now, this is fan interference. Now, they don't have to give Darryl Strawberry 2 bases. You see that young lady right there trying to get that ball. She almost fell out right on her head. And they reeled her in like a fish.
They asked the fans not to reach over and interfere with the ball that's in play. I don't know if it's just instincts or what, when fans are along the lines there, that they have to stick their hands out. Posada, who has walked a couple of times, intentionally walked in the 6th, so that makes 3 walks. He scored and picked up an RBI.
But on that play there, the umpires could have given Darryl Strawberry any base they wanted. They could have given him third base if they thought that he could have gotten a triple on the ball. It's not an automatic double. It's where they think you would be if the fan did not interfere with the ball. And they pointed to John Hirschbeck pointed to second base. And usually it's the home plate umpire or third base umpire that's watching the play, because Richie Garcia, the first base umpire, is out trying to see if there's interference involved.
Breaking ball in for a called strike, so Posada is gone. The Yankees pick up another here in the 7th. They lead it 11-3. Bottom of the 7th, Yankees 11, Boston 3. Let's take a look at some of our out-of-town scores, brought to you by Nissan. 7-2, Toronto leads it over Cleveland. I think Mike Stanley's hit a couple of home runs in that game. That's in the 7th. Colorado leading Cincinnati 3-1. Most of the games being played tonight. But right now it's a blowout with David Wells pitching for the Yankees and trying for his 6th win in a row. Ramiro Mendoza, who started last night, and Luis Sojo keeping each other entertained in this 7-3 lead by the 11-3 lead by the Yanks.
There are two fans in the blacked out area, and that was why John Hirschbeck went to both managers to say that they aren't going to start the game until they get those guys out of there.
So they're gone, and the game will start here in the bottom of the 7th inning. David Wells, 91 pitches on that one there, lifted down the right field line, and over is O'Neill, and did he hang on to it? He did. Good play by O'Neill, who was getting close to the wall. And there's one gone. John Valentin can't believe it. He thought at least he would come up with a base hit.
And Paul O'Neill made a sliding catch. That's the only way you could make a catch right there, unless you want to be a splatter mark on that wall, because you're charging as hard as you can. And you can't pull up that quickly and still catch the ball. The only way is you make the slide. Paul O'Neill did it. Mike
Benjamin steps in, and the only way that you can actually make an attempt to catch a ball like that is to have 11-3 lead. Because that ball gets by O'Neill. If he doesn't put leather on it, it's either in the stands or it's rolling around in right field. It's probably an inside the park home run. No balls, 2 strikes. There's that old scoreboard. It's still handled by a human hand out there. Obviously, that hand will be attached to a human being.
That's going to be hot back in there too, or do they have fans, or is it air conditioned?
I don't know.
I've never been back in there.
I haven't either. I've gone over. You see where the camera is down by the ball, in between the ball and the strike. I've looked in that area before, but I couldn't see a whole lot. Inquisitive person that I was when I played left field here at Fenway. Nobody ever invited me to come in and look around and utilize putting up numbers. Talking about putting up some numbers before his 6th win. Well hit in the center field. That'll be a base hit for Benjamin. Now you see our camera. Is he going to pan inside the scoreboard there to give us a inside look? Well, that's the look that is coming from the scoreboard camera. So that'd be the low-level left field view. That's what the left fielder is seeing. Off the glove. Varitek will be thrown out by David Wells, and I don't know if that got some flesh or not, if it was just leather. He appears to be all right.
Line drive, yes, it got leather. David got his glove up and kind of deflected it down. Good play by David Wells. And here comes Gene Monahan and Joe Torre. David knocks it down, has presence of mind to pick it up and not rush his throw. And I actually thought I saw a little smile on David's lips after he made the play. An old surfing guy on the beaches of Southern California, he's wiped out on waves tougher than that ball right there.
Wow, did you see that? Wow. Now he knows how Andy Pettifield, Graham Lloyd now will begin to throw in the Yankee bullpen. Mike Messina the other day was hit by a line drive right in the forehead.
Oh,
Actually, it caught him in the nose and broke his nose. Maloney. Maloney 0 for 2 this afternoon, 2 outs in the 7th. One man on for Boston.
You know what that does, throwing the beach balls and all that stuff out, it just gives David Wells a chance to compose himself. If the adrenaline was pumping after that line drive up the middle, it gives you a chance to calm yourself down and start making good pitches on the outside corner.
Now it's 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Well, that ball was hit into the stands, and that was almost in the same spot. The last ball went in there and hit some lady in the nose and bloodied her nose. And that time a fan with a glove on fielded it. That was David Wells' 100th pitch.
Inside for a ball. Now it's 2-2.
You know, with this big lead, what Joe Torre can do, Wells gets out of this inning with, let's say, 103 or 4 pitches. He's going to pitch again Thursday against these same Red Sox. So you take him out now and you let him be good and strong for his next start. Now, if the game were 6-3 or 5-3, you let him pitch into the 8th inning and then turn it over to the bullpen. Or turn it over to Rivera. Now with an 8-run lead, you got 105 pitches or so. You let Graham Lloyd, because he's got to serve his 3-day starting Monday.
Well, if you're looking towards that Red Sox series, May the 28th, 29th, 30th, and 31st at the stadium. You can get your tickets at the stadium ticket window. Monday through Saturday, 9 to 5, and Ticketmaster. There's the phone number. And that probably will be a sellout all 4 days at the stadium.
It should be.
It should be. Jeter is short to throw out Maloney. Red Sox lead 1 man on. David Wells is cruising, and the Yankees lead it 11-3.
Number 28.
11-3 here at the top of the 8th inning as the Yankees come to the plate. And David Wells getting some handshakes in between innings. Only 102 pitches thrown. There's Mel Stottlemyre over. That may be all for him. Do you think that's all for Wells?
I think it is, because you got a huge lead. You can let Graham Lloyd get some work in, because, like I said, he has to serve his 3-game suspension, and he'll get some work. And now you have a relatively rested David Wells coming Thursday against the Red Sox at the stadium.
Chad Curtis, who's 2 for 3 with an RBI. Well, you talk about the suspensions. Darryl Strawberry was the first to serve his. Line sharply in the left field for a base hit by Curtis. But the suspensions, after 2 days, on a 3-day suspension by Strawberry, he appeals the 3rd day. So he gets a chance to play last night, and tonight we'll see what happens tomorrow.
They'll probably have a hearing tomorrow, and he'll take it when they're in against the White Sox. And you see what Chad Curtis does to a high fastball. It's called a rope. That's called a rope.
And Brocious, who is perfect so far, lifts one down the right field line, and it will curve foul. Roche is 3 for 3. And Strawberry still has one more day left on the suspension. He could serve that tomorrow.
Well, they have to have a hearing, I think.
Unless he waives it.
Unless he waives it.
He may be able to waive it. And then as soon as Strawberry is through with his suspension, the next in line is Lloyd with a 2-day suspension, and then Jeff Nelson after that. So there may be some strategy behind serving the suspension and when the time frame is and when you appeal, etc. We'll just have to see how that plays out. Were you ever suspended, TJ?
No.
Roches is gone on strikes, and Steve Avery now begins to warm up for the Red Sox.
Well, there is a guy that was on top of the world when he was with the Atlanta Braves and opted to move on, and he just has hit on hard times. He started out with an injury, and then he changed his motion slightly, and now he's got to try to get it all back together.
Dale Swaim, strike one to Swaim.
And Jimmy Williams, I believe it was last year, Avery had a chance, had one start. If he starts it, he gets a huge salary kick in for this year.
But he gets a renewed
contract
for a year.
And Jimmy Williams started him, and there was no reason to start him because they weren't going anyplace other than he thought that he deserved to start.
And I think the contract called for about $4.5 million, so that was a pretty hefty start. 1 ball, 2 strikes to Swaim, 1 out, 1 man on here in the 8th.
For somebody that's not going to be a starter or an integral part of your team, but they're hoping that he can regain the form that made him a pretty good pitcher when he was about 19, 20 years old with the Braves.
Good pitch by Garces, outside corner, strike 3, 2 gone. The Yankees have left at least 1 man on in every inning so far in this game. They've scored 11. And now pinch hitting for Chuck Knobloch. Luis Sojo will get some playing time.
Dale Swaim up there at the bat in an 11-3 game. You can't take anything close with 2 strikes on you.
Knobloch with a grand slam home run. He leaves with 2 hits and 5 plate appearances, 4 RBIs, a run scored. And a foul back and out of play. Now it's 0-2 on Sojo. Sojo was hit in spring training by a pitcher and broke his metacarpal on the left hand, and so he started the 98 season on the disabled list. So Joe Torre giving Sojo some playing time, which you very hard to do to keep everybody as sharp as you would like for them to be and take advantage of situations such as the one that we're in here now with an 11-3 lead.
When you get a blowout either end, you're winning or you're losing. That's when you can get your bench players in, get them some at-bats, and keep them relatively sharp. And that's tough for both managers, Joe Torre and Jimmy Williams. You want to give your starters as much playing time as you can, but those guys on the bench, every once in a while, you've got a tough, tight game, and you'd like for them to come in and pinch hit for you. It's tough if they haven't played in 25 days.
Runner takes off, 3-2. And it's a pitch on the outside corner, one of those questionable pitches. So the Yankees are gone here in the 8th, but they lead it by 8. And Graham Lloyd is the new pitcher.
Graham Lloyd coming in, getting a chance to get some work in before he has to go serve his suspension. And it's a good time. You can come out there, you can freewheel. You've got 8 runs. You don't have to be really perfect. Just got to throw strikes, because I'm telling you, Hirschbeck has got, right now, he's got a wide strike zone. He's in his 13th game, 9 2/3 innings pitched, 1 walk. Graham Lloyd is a pretty good pitcher for what he does. Come in, get the left-handers out. And I'll tell you, he's not too bad against some right-handers. Yankees are 23-7 when the starter goes 6 innings.
2 balls and a strike to Darren Lewis, the leadoff man for the Red Sox. He's grounded out 2 times and flied out, so he's 0 for 3. 11-3, the Yankees lead it. Well hit, but right to Soho, who came in to bat for Knobloch, so Soho gets some action right off the bat here in the 8th.
Absolutely, that's the way you want to do it. Guy comes in, hasn't played in a while, been on the bench for 7 innings.
Well, what a job he did for the Yanks last year.
He's got a good glove.
Soho is so important, those types of players. They're versatile. You're going to have injuries. To be able to put somebody in like that to do the job that they do. And Bragg takes the ball inside for a ball. Bragg 1 for 3. Hits this one out into left field. Curtis comes on and makes a nice catch. 2 outs.
Well, Graham Lloyd has not fooled anybody. A line drive Soho caught off the bat of Darren Lewis, and Darren Bragg get a line drive that Chad Curtis comes in and makes a knee-high grab.
Nice play by Curtis.
Tell you, that young man does a good job out there.
Mo Vaughn steps in. And Mo sends one out into left field. Curtis waves off Bernie Williams. So Graham Lloyd and the Yankees, an easy inning here in the 8th. We've played 8, 11-3 Yankees. And the Yankees are enjoying the early season ride that they are on, coming into this game with a record of 31-10. They have an 11-3 lead here in the top of the 9th inning, and Jeter faces Steve Avery. You know, we talked about Avery when he was warming up, TJ, but what happens to a young man like this? I mean, why does he go from the top to the bottom in such a big hurry?
Well, like I said, he was injured, and then he changed his motion, and then while he was pitching, while he was injured, he just was getting tattooed, and then he lost confidence. And now you've got to start back from the start. You've got to start on the motion, and then the last to come is confidence.
Well, hit in the gap left center field. Moving over is Lewis. And what a play he made. Boy, did he cover some ground.
Very, very, very good play. And that play was made, but the ball being held up by the wind. And when the ball went out, he had no chance. And then it just
The right fielder,
Darren Lewis, his speed got him right over to that corner.
And one of the reasons the Red Sox are a better club in '98 is because of the speed of Darren Lewis and the play of Bragg in right field and O'Leary in left. Paul O'Neill hits it hard, but Benjamin is there to throw him out, so 2 gone here at the top of the 9th.
I've always felt this infield at Fenway Park was extremely fast. They talk about grass infields. This infield is bluegrass, but it's cut relatively short, and the ball just skids off that short bluegrass. And sometimes you can get balls that ball that O'Neill hit. It hit, and then it really skidded and took off. And it forces the infielders to play with soft hands. Or bruises, one of the two if you don't have soft hands.
Williams takes one up high. That's what was wrong with me at shortstop. My hands were soft.
That's right. Bobby Murcer came up as a shortstop. Hideki Arabu says, I went out there at shortstop too.
Arabu awaits his start in Chicago. It'll be David Cohn and Brett Saberhagen pitching the finale of this 3-game series tomorrow afternoon.
It'll be a good game. A couple of ex-teammates with Kansas City Royals. Brett Saberhagen making a comeback. This is about his 3rd comeback, isn't it? From surgery, shoulder, elbow, all this thing.
Ball 4 to Bernie with 2 outs. David Cohn making a comeback too after surgery on his. Yeah. Thought he struggled a little bit in his last outing.
You know, he's got a good record, but he has very un-Cohn-like other statistics. 6.60 ERA.
Strawberry takes the curveball on the outside corner for a called strike. He's 2 for 4 with an RBI double. And even with the left-hander out there, they put the shift on Strawberry. Well, they put the shift on Strawberry today, and it's a 2 for 4 day for him so far with an RBI. That gets away from Veritek, and Williams will move to second.
That was a curveball wild pitch that hit off Veritek's glove and caromed up on top of the screen. Anytime the ball goes out of play like that off the pitching mound, it's a 1 base.
Two and 2.
You know, Avery is only 27. He'll be 28. Well, he's 28 now. He turned 28 April 14th. But that's still young. My heavens, it's
young. The baby. And he's left-handed. And he's done it before.
When he was 21 years old, he was 18-8 with the Atlanta Braves in 1991. If these guys get tired of him, I would make you a bet that Leo Mazzoni would take him back and get him pitching relatively well again.
Well hit deep to right center field. Lewis won't catch up with this one. One hops the bullpen, and Darryl Strawberry, shift or no shift, has 3 hits and 2 RBIs, and the Yankees lead it 12-3.
Little cut fastball, or stayed on the inside part of the plate, about belt high, and Darryl just leveled off on it, and he said, shift this. And he shifted all right, shifted into high gear. You can shift, but I tell you what, you can't shift that far.
And going in to run for Strawberry, Homer Bush. Got 2 outs here in the ninth. We don't call those high fives anymore, but I guess that's just a
fist.
I don't know what they call that, to tell you the truth. Jorge Posada swings and misses. I guess it's still a high five, somewhat of a high five.
A closed high five. The other one is an open high five. That's a closed high five.
No balls, 2 strikes to Posada. Aaron Seeley had his problems here. He finally moves on to Texas and is doing wonders down there. 6 swing, 1 hopper back to Avery. Yankees are gone here in the 9th inning, but they do pick up another run, and they've left a runner on base in every inning. They lead it 12-3. Bottom of the ninth. Yankees in front 12-3. Now it's time to take a look at our GM turning point of the game. And it comes in the second inning. Bases loaded. Chuck Knobloch. Yes. Deep to right field. Way back, and it's a grand slam for Chuck Knobloch. The Yankees score 5 in that inning. And Knobloch enjoys that trot around the bases on the grand slam. So another pitching change. Mr. Nelson will come in, take over for Lloyd.
Graham Lloyd serving his suspension, getting ready to. Jeff Nelson getting ready to serve his. And Joe Torre, this is a good game for the Yankees to have right before these two guys have to go on the shelf. And plus, Nelson had a little shaky outing last night, getting back out there on the mound and get some confidence in him. A lot of hits per innings, though, and he's a better pitcher than that. He has better stuff than 28 hits in 22 2/3 innings.
Of course, they will not serve their suspensions at the same time. As soon as Strawberry has served his, Graham Lloyd will begin to serve his suspension. Keith Johns will be the hitter, batting for Leyritz. And the first pitch to Johns is up high. He was just called up today and takes over the place of Trot Nixon, who is on the roster. Just up from Pawtucket.
It's one thing about the Red Sox. When they go to make a move to send a player down to Lowell or send a player down to Pawtucket, it's only an hour drive to Pawtucket, hour and a half.
And a pretty good curveball that Johnson's got to face. Now it's 1-2.
They didn't throw like this in the International League, Coach.
And another breaking ball outside. Now it's 2-2. Numbers at AAA for Keith Johns.
That's after about 35 games.
And another foul back just to the right of us here. Don Sterling, Michael Kay, they seem to be all right. 3 balls, 2 strikes to Johns, leading off here in the top of the checked at the bottom of the 9th inning. Yankees in front by 9, 12-3. Ball 4, the leadoff batter is on.
Jeff Nelson, when he gets in trouble, he has trouble throwing his fastball for strikes. Now that's unusual, and I'm sure Mel Stottlemyre and Joe Torre trying to figure out what they can do to get him to throw his fastball for strikes, because the fastball tails in on the right-handed hitter so well that it sets up the breaking ball, but he gets to where he can throw his breaking ball over the plate and can't throw his fastball.
Now he's fallen behind O'Leary. 2 balls and no strikes. Now it's 2-1.
And all you got to do is throw it someplace within 6 inches on either side of the corner of home plate. The home plate 17 inches wide, so you've got a 29-inch strike zone. Throw it over there, and Mr. Hirschbeck will give you a benefit of the doubt.
And that's out of play. Now it's 2-2. See the shadows now beginning to creep along the home plate area. Swing and a miss at a high fastball well out of the strike zone. One gone here tonight.
A high fastball that looked like it was a four-seamer, because usually Nelson's ball tails back, and that ball just kind of cut right in there and stayed straight.
John Valentin hit a 2-run home run back in the 4th inning.
Bobby, pitching and throwing strikes is nothing more than confidence. You see pitchers out there with all kinds of motions, from Louis Tiant to Marichal to Warren Spahn.
Line sharply down the left field line. It will be in. For a double. They will hold Johns up at third. So now runners at second and third, and only one out for Boston.
And Nelson threw that sinker in, and it really wasn't a sinker. It was a tailing fastball that stayed out on the plate. And Valentin got his hands inside and put the barrel of the bat on the ball.
Benjamin now 1 for 3.
John Valentin's a pretty good hitter, Bobby.
Yes, he is.
You know, and you kind of lose sight of him in there when you've got Garcia Parra and you've got Naring and Mo Vaughn and all those guys, you know, and he just kind of falls in there, and you just say, oh, yeah, and you look up and he's put some good numbers up.
Benjamin playing in place of Garcia Parra. Benjamin is he's an aggressive hitter. He likes it if it's around the strike zone.
Well, that's what Jim Rice wants those guys. If the ball looks good at home plate, go to swinging. You can't hit the ball unless you get the bat off your shoulder, and Jim Ed could hit. I told him, I said, you know, if you had all the weight programs that these guys have now, think how you would have hit.
He didn't need a weight program. He was as strong as they come. Still is. Out of play. Not many flies floating around the ballpark, but there are a few around third base, nothing around second.
Why is that?
Well, you saw Johns. Looked like he was batting some flies away. 40 minutes from now, Gonzalathon will start. As John strikes out.
Number 47.
Another high fastball, and Jeff Nelson just blew that ball right on by Mike Benjamin. Again, that was not his sinker, the ball that he throws with the two seams. That was more of a four-seam fastball that just stayed straight.
2 gone, 2 men out. This is Jason Varitek. Last hope for Boston. High and outside for a ball. I think the hardest time for a pitcher is when he's out there knowing that the game is out of hand and you're trying to throw strikes the best you can, and you can't find the zone.
It is, because the adrenaline isn't there, and it's more like a practice game or a spring training game, and you're trying to throw strikes and it doesn't happen.
And now he's in front. 1 ball, 2 strikes to Varitek.
And your thought process is, oh no, it's not going to start again. Oh no, please, God, just let me throw the ball over the plate and just let them pop the ball up the plate.
But we all know you can't wish your way in.
You cannot wish it. No, you can't. You got to throw it. You got to rear back and throw it. The minute you start aiming the ball, 1, you can't throw strikes. 2, if you do throw strikes, the ball doesn't have anything on it.
Well, an incentive here is if he can get Varitek out, he saves a couple of runs. That helps the earned run average. Wow. Foul ball off the left side. Most of the 33,120 have left Fenway. Official sellout here for the second game of the 3-game series. Back up the middle. And this should do it, and it does, as Nelson throws over to Slam, and the Yankees even it up in this 3-game series by winning today's game 12-3 in a blowout at Fenway. David Wells started the game looking for his 6th victory, and he will pick up his 6th consecutive victory in a row. We'll be back with a wrap-up as the Yankees win it by the score of 12-3. Stay with us.